Greetings, chess fans. We're coming to you live from the heart of Bienne, this vibrant bilingual city in Switzerland. This is the best time of the year, but obviously the 58th International Biel Chess Festival continues in the Biel Congress Center. Today we have an amazing schedule ahead of us, but before we go into it, first and foremost, I would like to congratulate every single chess fan with the International Chess Day, because today is the 20th July. Here in the Biel Congress Center, the atmosphere feels really electric. The entire hall is going to be all about Blitz, the GMT Masters Challengers. There's going to be an open tournament. So a lot of fun, a lot of chess to follow. I'm Grandmaster Artur Nations. As usual, we are your host together with the ever-charming Angelika Volkova. And tune in for some amazing chess action. Angelika, what can we expect from today?
Absolutely amazing fight. Greetings, Artur, and happy International Day to you as well.
Thank you.
It's very important not to forget about the host. But yesterday we had the final day of the classical portions. It means that today everything can change. So still the fourth and the fifth place can catch up with the leaders and get into the finals, because this is what it's going to be about today.
Let's check the current standings of both the GMT Masters and Challengers, because this is the third leg before qualifying for the Final Four. The Masters tournament has a new leader, that's Salem, the experienced grandmaster from the Emirates, where he managed to score several victories in a row, essentially climbing from the last place to the first place. Fedoseev and Aravindh are within the striking distance, and also for Murzin and Wojtaszek, this is a chance to try to qualify for the top four after today's Blitz. In the meantime, in the Challengers section, you can see there's one clear leader. His name is Nicholas Theodorov. He's been playing fantastic chess so far, but the Vachier-Lagrave, he's very, very close nearby with only 3.5 points distance. Rinat Jumabayev and Machun, probably also David Navarra and Daniel Darda, have something to say to make it to the final stage.
It's a very important day today, because if you're going to do great as a player, you will be able to catch up. You will be able to enter to the finals. This is all what's going to be about. And I think in the Challengers, bigger question is going to be, will there be 3 or 4 players in the finals, because the difference with the points might be super strong. And here we see the pairings for the first round of the Blitz portion. We see that Aravindh was going to take white pieces against Svane. Salem, the top Emirati Grandmaster, will face Murzin, the reigning rapid champion. And okay, actually we have something. Okay, in the Challengers, meanwhile, Daniel Darda is going to play with white pieces against David Navarra. Aram Hakobian with white pieces against Machun. Rinat Jumabayev will take with white pieces against the current leader, Nicholas Theodorov. And just to update about the game, Salem with white pieces will take on Murzin, and Vladimir Fedoseev will play against Aravindh Chitambaram. Radoslav Wojtaszek with white pieces against Svane.
It's going to be really tough to choose, right? So here we see the players are getting ready. For some of them, this is the best part of the tournament. Once again, 10 points to grab. Every single day in the classical tournament, that will be the 4 points for the victory. Here, every single victory gives you, like normal chess, as you would expect, 1 point for the victory, half a point for a draw. Obviously, losses are not awarded. For some, this is the final chance to make sure that they can make it to the top 4 and the game start.
And we see that the players are pressing the clock. I see the first move, d4, d5 on the board of Vladimir Fedoseev against Aravindh. Artur, shall we decide on one of the game we're going to follow?
Let's start with the leader. Salem Saleh against Voldar Murzin. He's the current leader. Let's go to this game and see how it goes. Of course, if there's going to be something absolutely crazy in one of the other games, we're going to jump straight to that.
Yeah, absolutely. We see that the players are playing the moves very quickly. We see h4 is already on the board. I mean, all the players are ready with opening prep. Now they have even more time that they are started with on the clock.
Repeat of the classical. They already played this. It's exactly the same game. Exactly. 93 bishop d6, rook h3. They want to repeat the same stuff they already played a couple of days ago.
We were discussing this already, and we had this position in many games, by the way. Salem has played it against Murzin. It was also played in the Challengers in one of the games. So one of the thematic ideas in this Slav. But we see the attack on the king side. We see again this rook h3 lift, which was happening also in the classical portion.
Yeah, I mean, here, White's intentions are crystal clear. Oh my goodness, can't even spell it. Crystal clear. White wants to go for a king side attack, play g4, g5, open up the king side. In the meantime, probably think about castling the long side. It seems like Salek has made his homework very, very nicely, because that's what you do when you play a very interesting game. G5, H5, of course. Here, Murzin attempts to close the king side for good.
It looks like he wants to do it, because otherwise there will be attack. Meanwhile, Salem has a king on e1. It's going to be a question, will he castle long, or will the king stay for a time? In the center, we see the answer immediately on the board, rook d1, so there will be no castle. Most likely, king will be somewhere on f2 at some moment. Arturs, what do you think? Where do you put the king?
There's the answer. The king stays in the center. This is a very big decision. I think that both players definitely are still within the prep, but at some point, they're going to have to make their own games. Bishop b4, Max is a mistake, feels to be pretty human move to me. Both players are very strong, actually, the time control players. I mean, Volodar Murzin is the reigning World Rapid Champion, and Salem's skills, especially in online chess Blitz, are legendary.
Yeah, and also reminding the last year's edition of the Biel Chess Festival, Salem scored 9 out of 10 points, and with that, he was basically on the top of the world, like no one could catch him. He basically eliminated Bienne, I remember last year, because there was a more than 12 points difference between him and the fourth place.
So indeed, there's the trade on b4. Both players are incredibly good. We'll see how the game is going to turn out. Here, White keeps the queens on the board. A bit surprising, perhaps, but I suppose he couldn't have done it otherwise, because the pawn on a4 would be under attack. There comes the counter-strike with c5. Murzin attempts to open up the position, and White just played this very cool move, rook h2.
Rook h2, another leaf, but backwards, because on the third rank there is nothing going on. But from second rank, rook can enter somewhere else. Now, queen e7, returning with the queen into defense on the king side. Do you think black should be worried about the attack, or there is some active plan black should fulfill?
To be honest, Angelica, it's not even clear who is attacking who, because, of course, I'm seeing White has those kingside pawns that wants pretty far, but where's the break? I don't see the break. At the same time, I do see the White kings on e1. There's queens on the board. So for Murzin, also, the position is pretty easy to play. Remove the king from the long diagonal. Here, the queen on a2 steps. Oh, rook d2 is a blunder.
Apparently, rook d2 is a bundle. Looks like very logical move. Knight e5, suddenly striking for a fork on f3.
There comes, it wasn't really an actual blunder, it was just a big mistake, but here our engine said that was a terrible move. There comes Murzin, knight b4, he goes for a counterattack.
He's jumping with the knight all the way to b4. It's a perfect outpost for the knight. You cannot kick it from there. Now, queen has to move, but where do you move it? There are almost no squares.
Watch out for knight e5, the rook on d6 might be in trouble.
There might be big problems, and what do you do? What do you do? You have to move the queen. There is no other move.
I mean, yep, the queen, I suppose, is a pretty important piece anyway. So either queen b3 or queen b1. I think right now Salek sees that black wants to play knight 6 to d5 to disconnect rook d6 from the protection on the rook on d2. Very big decision here, and that's why he will invest some time here. 1 minute and 12 seconds on the clock.
And as a reminder, Volodar Murzin not only is a reigning rapid champion, he also qualified for the knockouts in the Blitz World Championship. He was in the top 8, so he's doing great in those short time to control. And apparently queen a3 is the miss.
Yeah, but it's very difficult.
Ooh, it's very tough.
Very difficult to make this decision. And also speaking about Volodar, he's currently in the 4th place. Salem is leading the overall rankings. And for Murzin, this is also incredibly important game because Wojtaszek is only half a point behind him in the 5th place. So this is not only about winning this game. Of course, it's all about making it to the final 4. Every point is going to matter.
Will we see knight e5 jump? And it's happening right this second. You cannot take. There is also knight coming to c2. Apparently a brilliant is on the board.
Yeah, that's as expected, of course. Really great move here. Do you play? I mean, you have to sacrifice something, I suppose. Knight takes on d5 or e takes on d5. Here the engine says both of these moves are even. Rook takes on d5 is a move as well. So once again, pretty big decision for Salem to make. He's not lost, but he's in trouble.
If you take with a knight, the way opens for the knight to c2 with a fork. So there are many decisions, but I mean, he's having 35 seconds on the clock. He takes with a knight. Now there is knight c2. Or he will
Knight
take.
C2, yeah, Rook C2, you could blunder a queen on E7. I suppose you have to take
you
on
have to take.
D5. Yeah, but with what? Probably with a pawn to keep the rook disconnected. I think that Salek is going to sacrifice the exchange. There's no choice here.
One small trick, you cannot take the rook on D6 because there is going to be knight F6 check. Wait, he blundered knight F6 check or it's not?
Oh, this is really tricky. You have to calculate things clearly. Knight F6, G takes, rook D6. There's a fork
Knight
on C2.
C2. Oh my God, there is a lot of tactics. What is going on?
Watch out for queen G3. And Knight F6, he does it.
He goes for it.
Rook D6, Knight C2, King F2. I think both players are, of course, aware of this check.
28 seconds only for Salem, 1 minute for Murzin.
Murzin should be very close to winning here. F5, great move here. I think he also wants to bring the bishop on H7 in the game. F4, you have to do it, otherwise the bishop on H7 would be dead. So here I think we could see the rook trade, and this is also a very tough start for the last year's Blitz tournament winner and the current leader, Salem Saleh.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, for Volodar, it's a huge chance to climb up and be there in the top of the leaderboard, not to qualify for the finals. This is all what's it about. 10 seconds, meanwhile, on the clock.
Yeah, very, very difficult situation here for Saleh. I think that Murzin wants to trade the rooks. You got to bring that rook on the king side. Rook A8, that's the move I wasn't expecting, really. Feels pretty weird to me.
And now F4, trying to stabilize on the king side. Rook D7, trying to get some extra pawns, but the exchange feels like an exchange.
Yeah, but it's still not so clear because white is also pretty active and white can have some easy moves like bishop b5, get the pawn on b7, activate the docks with bishop. I think black needs the queen side rook. There you go. Murzin corrects his last move and plays rook c8.
Now rook is coming forward to the second rank, maybe targeting the bishop on b2, and there could be some checkmates ideas already. It's very tough right now for Salem to lead this defense.
Now I think that the best hope for him is somehow to utilize the power of the rooks, and this is what he does. He attacks the king, grabs the pawn. I think also now it makes sense to double the rooks on the second rank and activate the last square bishop. The position should be technically winning, but how? How exactly do you win this?
Yeah, 6 seconds on the clock. Now we have half a minute for Volodar.
Oh, rook d3, what a fantastic move. Rook takes on d2 and he's going to seal the deal. What a great move here.
Oh my God, and now there is just an extra bishop, an extra pawn. It cannot be.
Now that's a great game. That's a great game. But Murzin and a nightmare scenario for Salem because it's all about getting in the right pace. And it seems that here, yeah, there you go. There's the resignation. This game is officially finished. Let's maybe jump to one of the games, which is unclear. Fedoseev against Aravindh, perhaps?
Yeah, it looks like the game is finished because I see that oh no, they're still playing. Okay, there was no time on the clock. Probably it's a bit of a glitch, but we see King.
We saw the resignation on the camera. So let's continue to this.
Yeah, let's go to
game.
the.
What do we see here? Fedoseev with white, Aravindh with black.
So now we got the time. Okay, 5 seconds only for Aravindh. He keeps on going.
Both players have A pawns rolling forward. Which pawn is faster? Rook F4. No, rook G4.
Check. Now there might be some checkmates ideas. You have to calculate it. Now rook D1, there could be even checkmate.
A mate. I mean, queen F7. There's going to be a rook trade. Black's going to put another queen on the board. No, queen B7. This is really chaotic, but because the players are playing basically on the final seconds here, white is down a full queen. This has got to be winning for black.
It looks like it's winning.
Watch out for queen G7 checkmate, by the way. Big threat. Queen H7, there's no mate.
Oh, no mate. He's defended from everything, and he can even sacrifice a queen if he wants for the knight or for the rook. Yeah. He cannot take the rook. That was a trick. If you take the rook, then there would be checkmate.
Oh, that's going to be a mate. F4. So here black has two queens. Whoo, queen G5. You're going to take with a pawn because that's a pin. That's a great move. So black is simplifying the position. He gave up the queen just to make sure that he can trade off the queen. So queen F5 is incoming. There you go. I think it's going to steal the deal for black.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to see a resignation very soon. He still keeps on playing. There is no checkmate. The most important is to make sure there is no checkmate for black. Other than that, the game would be over.
Of course, the game still continues. White is hoping for some miracle, but as they say, a rook is a rook, and also the white king is pretty exposed. Both players are down at about last 4-5 seconds. 4 seconds for Aravindh. Bishop b1, 9 g3. Where's the mate? Where's the mate? Bishop takes on g3. You can take with a pawn, take with a king. No, you can take with a queen as well.
Oh, and there is a check. Okay, now it's an extra rook, so you have just to trade the queens or attack the king. There might be a checkmate. We might see a rook a5, queen attacking the king. There could be a checkmate.
I think he's going to do it. Yeah, I mean, extra rook has got to be important, and this is it. Yeah, king h5, queen f6. White has no trick skill, only 2 pawns for the rook. Fedoseev is looking for this one more final trick, but unfortunately there's none. There goes the queen trade.
Yeah, and we have an extra rook. Of course, there are pawns. They're still marching, but definitely with a king on
And there's a
g7.
resignation.
We see the last something. Vladimir is asking for something, arbiter?
Yeah.
Something is going on.
All the games are decided.
Yes,
This
but-
round is over.
The round is over, but Vladimir is asking something, the arbiter. Something is happening. Not so clear what.
He's
But
claiming
he was
something. No, but it's resolved, it
Okay.
seems. Yeah, there was some uncertainty.
Oh my God.
Really, really interesting action. So very, very nice prelude, what we could expect from today. Once again, there's 10 Blitz rounds to play. This was only round 1. So quite amazing moment here happening. Maybe we could call out the results. What are the current results of round number 1? So we'll see until that. But I mean, Angelika, this very first game, Murzin against Salem, that was essentially the repeat of the classical tournament. And it seems like this time Murzin did the homework a bit better, no?
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw that he scored a victory. Also, Aravindh winning against Fedoseev, climbing up in the standings. But we'll have all the rest of the fun in the round 2 and the rest.
Yeah, we'll see. There's more action coming with round 2. In the meantime, dear viewers, hope you're enjoying the coverage. We'll be coming right back after the break. And we're back, dear viewers, with the action from the 58th International Biel Chess Festival. Today is the day when the Blitz is being played. As you can see, here are the pairings for the next round, where we see in the Masters tournament, Svane faces Aravindh, Murzin against Fedoseev, Wojtaszek against Salem. In the meantime, in the challengers, Navarra is going to take on the leader Niklas Theodore. Machun is going to face Rinat Jumabayev. And finally, Daniel Darda is going to try to overtake Aram.
Arthur, the pairing of David Navarro and Nicolas Theodore stands out for me the most right now because Nicolas is a current leader in the standings of the Grandmaster Triathlon. Navarro will try to get the chance to capitalize on him because he needs to stay in the game. He needs to stay for the finals.
All right, and we see some sort of an IQP position on the board. Black has a weak pawn on d5. That's the eternal question. Is that the strength? Is it the weakness? Bishop takes on b6, queen takes on b6. White has some choices. The knight on f3 is pinned. And it looks like White is winning a pawn. The question is, can he take it?
Yeah, it's a bigger question because there might be something after it.
Yeah, maybe knight b4, some counterattack, and the knight on f3. This is something you need to watch out for. So perhaps David cannot do it.
Some positional ideas, and he's going for it. He's taking the pawn, he's testing it out, and knight b4 is indeed on the board.
Yeah, very principled approach. Now, the point is that the bishop takes on f3, you cannot take with the queen, g takes on f3, and typically engines, these positions somehow like for the defender, because black has a very easy game here, so the position looks a bit balanced.
Yeah, and c3 is the next threat, so now Nicolas has to try to attack the queen in some way.
Indeed. So here, the pawn on c2 is under attack. Maybe g6, rook e8 could be an idea. The queen on e4 feels pretty active. Do we have a bit over what's going on in other games?
I would like to suggest to go to the game of Svane against Aravindh because I see that there is a huge action on the king side. So let's dive in instantly there. Look at this. g4 is on the board.
On g4, g6, this is some sort of a hedgehog, I would say, gone wrong because black is incredibly passive. How do I know this? I have played this from the black's perspective. Hedgehog is one of my absolute favorite setups, but here, White has got a massive space advantage. I mean, we can count the pawns on the fourth rank. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and if you wish, 6 is also possible.
Yeah, and it could be a move because now we see that White is trying to attack on the king side, so h4, h5 could be an idea, but we see queen h3 bringing the queen towards the action. Could we see in this position some g5 or f5? What is Black-White's preparing?
Absolutely. So White is going for the king set attack. Also, a very common trick for these positions at the right moment is knight e5, e takes, c takes on d5. But I don't think we are going to see this in a blitz game because it can easily go wrong for White in a classical game. You can figure it out. In a blitz game, it's different.
There is a big question, will g5 or f5 played? Maybe it's even working now because you're trying to open up the position, and meanwhile the queen of black is on the queen side. Now we see that Frederick is taking time. We know he was in the time troubles in the classical. This is Blitz. He will for sure get into time trouble here.
And Frederick needs some points because he's currently in the last place in the Masters tournament. So if he's dreaming about some chances, even theoretical chances to make the top 4, he's got to score victories. In the meantime, Aravindh started the Blitz tournament with a victory. And right now he is climbing to the leaderboard really close.
And look at that g5 attacking the knight. Now knight h5 and f5 immediately striking on the king's side, breaking the black's position. How do you react here, Artus? Do you have to take or you just stand still? Because
maybe you just ignore it because also the f5 square, Angelika gives up the e5 square. This is a very big decision. f5, knight e5 could be a move. This knight is really strong. White at some point even play f6, but no, e takes and f5 was played and counterattack d5. This game is getting really sharp.
Ooh, absolutely crazy. But now I'm wondering, is there any f6 ideas just basically cutting and encaging the bishop on g7? Can White go for it? Can White play f6?
Yeah, maybe you can play f6. Also, f takes on g6 is tempting. Also, knight takes on d5 is a move. There's so many moves. So knight takes on d5 hits the queen. I think black has to accept it. Then the queen on c7 will be under attack. But the thing is, the white king is pretty exposed. The engine says white is better, but actually the position for a blitz game might favor black.
It's very messy. It's very complicated what is going to happen. But meanwhile, the knight on h5 is not the piece which is playing. So that might be the reason why white is having this advantage, because the knight is doing nothing and cannot get out from h5. He's taking the knight.
He takes it, queen e5. Watch out for the bishop on e3. Under attack, there might be even some potential queen sacks on e3. For example, if white plays rook e1, queen e3, and bishop takes on d4, you got to calculate things very carefully. If the bishop retreats, there's knight f4. Queen takes on d5. No queen sack. Okay.
Oh. And it was a miss. Apparently now f6 is on the board, engaging the bishop. Now knight on h5 is absolutely a cut piece. It cannot jump back. It cannot jump anywhere.
Here, the engine says some absolutely amazing lines with knight e5, but I mean, both players are absolutely human beings, so bishop f8 also makes sense here, and Frederick attempts to trade the queens because he has some space advantage. I think Aravindh wants to keep the queens on the board, but the question is, can he do it?
I mean, well, we see that the queen trade was rejected. He doesn't want to go into the endgame.
Can I play bishop b1, knight f5? I'm wanting to go for some kingset attack because with knight f5, queen f5, there might be some batteries here, might be some attacking possibilities for white still.
And also there is a knight which would hang on h5, because if you jump knight f5, if you take, there is queen h5 suddenly. I mean, the knight is very bad piece for black.
Yeah, but for the moment, the bishop on d3 is under attack, so white might have to deal with this. Both players are really low on time. White has only 27 seconds. Noki offers a queen trade again. Probably the safe choice.
Will you trade the queens? Will you risk it all? Because your knight in the endgame on h5 might be over. I mean, how will you get away with the knight from h5? I don't see a way out. Arturs, do you see the way out for the knight?
No, I don't. So this probably means that black will have to accept a queen trade. Otherwise, the knight with d7 is lost. Maybe here Aravindh is looking for some tactics. But I mean, 30 seconds on the clock, and you only get 2 seconds for every single move.
25 right now for Aravindh, 29 for Frederick. Both players are low on the clock, but Aravindh has to make decision. Will he be able to find a way to continue?
Big decision here. He is not sure. He plays knight e5, allows the queen trade. Black is pretty active, but then again, the pawn on f6 and white's 2 bishops probably give white a better position. It's all coming down to the final seconds.
Yeah, and I see that there is king f2 has just been played. How do you open up? He's trying with h6. He's trying to open up the position.
But this is actually so good because the open h file might favor white, because if you open up the h file, there might be doubling of the rooks. So Aravindh instead goes for a queen set attack, targets the pawn on b4.
And now the g5 is always under pressure. Now the question is what to do with white. Do you trade on a5? Do you go b5? Maybe you should close the position rather.
All right, so we'll see what's going to happen here. 5 seconds for what he needs to make a choice.
3 seconds.
Or you make a move, you can't blunder here. Bx and a5 seems to be a mistake because the pawn on a3 is dropping.
Yeah, and definitely talking about the players, Aravindh currently is only half a point behind the leader, so he was getting very close to leading the event. But for Frederick, what was this?
I don't know. I mean, bishop b5, is it the move? Because there's also knight g4 check. This is something you need to watch out for. So at the moment, black is up something. You can trade rooks, you can take on e3, and it's clear that Aravindh is the one who's playing for the victory, but both players are down on 5 seconds.
Look at this, knight g4, and suddenly...
That's a great move.
Bishop takes, and now the knight is finally free. Extra pawn in the endgame.
Still not very clear, because watch out for bishop takes on h5, g takes on h6. White could go for a counterattack at the king side. Now the position feels pretty level. Rook d5. Okay, I didn't expect that.
We might see even a draw in this position, but definitely there is still try to play for black. Oh, no.
But wait, I mean, the knight on h5 is not really in the game. So how do you play for the win here? So rook d5, the pawn on g5 is hit. So I suppose white needs to address that somehow. Might fizzle out to a draw, we'll see.
And we see a trade has just happened. King f4 defending the pawn on g5. But you have a tricky position with the king on h7 right now.
Gonna play king g6 is gonna be rook g8. You're gonna do that. So here goes white, king d6, king e7. No, he goes back. You need to keep an eye on the pawn on h5. Might be a draw.
We might see a repetition in this game.
Once again, king g6. Aravindh is going for more. Rook g7. Do you protect the pawn on f7? Rook f4. What a sneaky check.
Yeah, and we see king g3 again.
Should be still draw. No, wait. Rook takes on g5. Rook no, it's going to be a draw. It's going to be a draw.
The player's going to agree on a draw. Meanwhile, we still have a game ongoing. Murzin against Vladimir Fedoseev.
Let's switch to that game.
One of the central games in the second round. Look at this endgame.
They just finished.
Oh, they just finished.
Fedoseev wins.
We still have a game of Daniel Darda against Aram Hakobian in the challengers. Let's dive in there this moment. The Daniel Darda.
Yep, there you go.
Still playing.
They're still playing. They're still playing. Darda has 2 extra pawns in the endgame. Hakobian is trying to defend. The position looks pretty hopeless. So this should be technically winning position. Every single move gives 2 seconds. So I think the Belgian Grandmaster should be able to figure it out.
Super important for Daniel to win this game in order to climb up in the standings, because currently he's on last place, so he has to do it. Will he be able to? And yeah, there is a resignation. We see a result now. Daniel is winning and getting higher in the standings. So this was the last game of the second round.
In the challengers, actually, all the games were decisive. All games with white were victorious. In the meantime, in the Masters, we have something else. We have 2 decisive games. So here are the results. As you can see, the only draw, by the way, was in the game Aravindh against Frederick Svane. In the meantime, Fedoseev bounced back from the loss in the first round with a victory over Volodar Murzin. Wojtaszek lost his game against Salem, so the tournament leader scored an important victory. In the meantime, Niklas Theodoros suffered his first loss in the Challengers tournament against David Navara. Machun overtake Renan Jumabayev, and Daniel Darda was victorious over the co-leader Aram Hakobian. So things are really shaking up rapidly.
Incredible results in the round 2 of the Blitz. So we're going to see even more action in the next round.
Absolutely. I mean, things are totally heating up here in the Biel Congress Center. Dear viewers, I mean, don't go anywhere. We're definitely coming back with more action with round 3 of Blitz here in the Biel Congress Center. Stay tuned and keep coming back after the break. We're back live from the 58th International Biel Chess Fest. So today is the day when the players are playing the Blitz tournament all over the hall. And here are the current standings of the GMT Masters and Challengers. In the Masters, Salem is still the lead of the tournament with 18 points. Fedoseev and Aravindh are getting pretty close. Aravindh is gaining also some pretty important points here. In the meantime, Niklas Theodorou is the leader of the Challengers tournament with 21.5 points. But Aram Jacobian is 4 points behind Jumabayev, and Machun share the third and fourth place. And the games are starting.
Let's go and take a look at the games. We see a lot of action already. Arthurs, which game should we follow in this game? Should we go for Aravindh against Valdar Murzin?
We can do that, so that's going to be a pretty important game. That's also the repeat of this ever classical Slav oration that Murzin already played, not only in the classical tournament against Salem Select, but also the Blitz tournament in the first round. And there's the deviation, E3, E6 is a mistake? Wait, what? G4, H4, can you play that?
G4, G5, it's happening. Wait, did he miss?
I think he just played on automation. He just played his E6 absolutely crazy. I think he mixed up with F3 where E6 is the move. And now after E3, G4, you can see the facial expression of Murzin's like, oh no, what did I do?
Probably had to include H6 move, so there is a space for the bishop to go back. But now after bishop G6, suddenly there will be a huge problem. Will we see a complete capitalization on the opening here, Arthur's H4?
This is the typical idea from the Scandinavian defenses. H4, H5 is a massive problem, and you cannot play H6 or H5 because there's going to be knight G6. Your pawn structure is going to collapse. So for Murzin, this is real trouble. Bishop D6 is played. Here, I think White can play H5, F3, try to win the bishop, and maybe Murzin can escape with inspired sacrifice.
Yeah, and looks like he is trying. He's sacrificing a bishop, going for this, but this is not something what you're expecting from the opening. I mean, you forgot one move and then something, and you have to start playing the game without a piece. This is completely shocking.
Yeah, I think here the bishop is going to be under attack. Queen takes on D1, knight takes on D1, bishop takes... Oh, it gets really sharp, but the engine doesn't agree. Engine says black is losing material because he has two minor pieces under attack. The bishop on E4, also the knight on F6, e takes on F6, brilliancy. Oh my goodness, he just sacrificed the rook at H1. How about that?
Oh my God, what a game we have here. It was a nice pick for this game. Takes on G7, now there will be H6, and there will be always a pawn on G7. Arthurs, how do you get rid of this?
I think I would have played like rook H3 without thinking, but Aravindh instead sacrificed the whole rook to take on G7. Now the pawn on G7 is a monster. Watch out for bishop D3, bishop takes on H7. When the pawn on H7 is gone, these pawns that are going to roll forward.
That's why he plays bishop E4 to stop that idea. So knight C3, now developing the pieces, and now the bishop is caged on the G6. For that reason, he goes for F6, trying to open it up.
The game is still live. Apparently, according to the engine here, Aravindh could have played a bit better. Still, he's making all the human moves. Really on fire since the start. The Indian Grandmaster is. I think you need to develop the right-wing pieces. Maybe bishop E3, rook D1, or long castle could be the move.
Yeah, yesterday after a loss in the classical, today he's unrecognizable. He's striking in every game. What a performance so far. So now big question, how do you develop the pieces? Where do you put your bishops? Do you have some ideas like bishop E3 targeting the knight, but there might be knight C4. You have to calculate everything.
Yeah, bishop E3, of course, makes perfect sense here. Maybe here he's looking for something else, like you won't keep those king step pawns moving forward. How do you do that? It's probably pretty apparent that black's going to play king F7. There you go, G5. I like this move, Angelika, because now the king on F7 for black is never going to feel safe, and the white bishop on G5 would be standing really great.
And there is also a bishop pair for white, so pretty great position. F5. Apparently not the best move, but this is a move which is keeping the F-file closed. So this was definitely a human move. But bishop on G6, look at this bishop. It looks like a pawn there.
Yeah, it's not really great. It's the last defender to keep the black's kingside together. I think here bishop E3, long castle looks really good. And here Aravindh has plenty of time to figure things out for Murzin. Again, this was really terrible opening. He just blitzed out the C6 without thinking. And now you have this.
Yeah, you got this. I mean, definitely your nose not ready for it. One mistake in the opening can lead to this. I mean, absolutely shocking for Murzin since he's very strong in the short time control. But what has happened? we don't know.
And Murzin, of course, is on the balance because he's currently somewhere on the 4th, 5th place, like Wojtaszek is within the striking distance. So that's why for him, every single game matters. For Aravindh, his position is a bit safer. He has scored, I think, 1.5 points from the first 2 rounds. So he's getting closer to the leader, Salem Select. So he has a bit time. Not long castle, but rook d1.
Rook d1 has been played, trying to also bring the rook into the action. Yeah, for Aravindh, it's just 1 point behind the leader, Salem, currently. And for Murzin, there is a big question about the qualification.
So you need to bring the last bishop on f1 in the game. How do you do it? I'm thinking there might be some bishop h3 ideas, but then again, it might be involved with f takes on e4. By the way, I'm not really sure, Angelique, if f takes on e4 is a problem, because white can always play bishop g2, bishop e4, collect the pawn. But still, you somehow want to clarify the situation. I think Aravindh should suspect that he's close to winning. He just takes on f5.
Yeah, he's just taking and he's improving his bishop now in the position. Now, e4 square is going to be a key one. If you bring there the knight or the bishop, and there's going to be a really big danger because the knight will jump all the way to d6. I mean, you have to defend it from black.
I think bishop e4 is a big threat. He wants to take on f5, play g6, play h7, and these pawns that are going to roll forward. This bishop has to go. So bishop g2 is a very nice move. Also, other idea could be knight e4, rook takes on d7, and knight f6 here. And Murzin is in a big trouble here. So he's making a move, knight e5, knight e4.
He has time, but the position is failing. 1 minute on the clock for Wojtaszek, Murzin, only 40 seconds for Aravindh. Now knight g4 apparently not such a great move in this position. What happened?
Bishop c5 looks very tempting.
Oh, bishop c5 check, and there is king has to go.
Rook d7 is incoming. This king is going to g6, and Aravindh right now is trying to figure out, can he allow the king to go to g6? In the meantime, he has only 20 seconds on the clock, and the position is still very sharp.
But there could be also knight d6 check. I mean, you have to calculate everything. 14 seconds. Bishop d4, he's not going for it. He's not letting the king go there. But knight f6 now is a big threat, or bishop f6.
Yeah, both of these moves are really serious moves. So king f7, according to the engine, that's the best move here. Watch out for the black rook to go to d8. Does he want to trade the rooks from the white's perspective? Knight f6 is played, seems to be good. No, engine marks as a mistake, maybe because of rook g to d8.
Oh, wow, is it possible? But then you have also ideas of trade, and he's going for it. He's removing the rook from g8.
Murzin is picking up some very impressive defense.
5 seconds. Only on the seconds, Aravindh is playing. Wait, it looks like according to computer, black already equalized. What is going on?
Yeah, because those kingside pawns are going nowhere, and maybe this is also a chance for Murzin. Look at this, the position is just locked. I mean, these pawns are going nowhere. Black can always play king g8 or bishop g6, and he still has the rook on e8 to somehow use it.
Isn't Black the one who is playing for the win here?
It could be, yeah, it could be. I mean, he might be going for some queenside. There you go, b5 is on the board. He's thinking about creating an outside pass pawn on the queenside.
5 seconds for Aravindh, 30 seconds for Murzin. I mean, for that reason, he is a very dangerous blitz player. We see b4 has been played. Aravindh is still trying something, but it's going to be very tough.
I don't think we're going to see the bishop trade. There you go. I think white needs to activate the king. The king is also an extra piece, basically, as they say in the endgame. Is he going to repeat, though? 5 seconds only for white?
It looked like there was a better move here for white.
Murzin might be happy with the draw. Even though he's up on exchange.
But he's up on time also. Maybe he will continue. Let's see. Rook c7. He's not agreeing to a draw.
Watch out for the king march. There comes Aravindh's king. King f4, king e5.
There might be sacrifice of bishop e6 and promoting to the queen. This is already in the air.
Yeah, that's a really great call right there, Angelica. So bishop takes on e6, huge threat. Maybe bishop f5 needs to be played. What about g6 check?
You have to calculate all that. And he's sacrificing.
Murzin is desperate.
But if you...
He didn't take it. Okay, that's surprising.
Oh, he's going forward with the king. Apparently, it's a miss. You should have taken the rook on d5. 2 seconds for Murzin.
King g8 is played. Now, black could keep the rook alive. Bishop c2, really chaotic game. It's very difficult to calculate things carefully here. I think it's probably going to end with a draw here because these kingside pawns here are blocked. They're going nowhere. Yeah, it looks like a fortress to me.
Yeah, it looks like this. We have opposite colored bishop. The pawns are not going to go anywhere. Also, the black's pawn in the center are not going as well.
Absolutely
Here is a
crazy
draw.
game. Yeah, it's a draw.
Meanwhile, we still have games ongoing. Let's jump into the game of Salem against Svane because we see they're imbalanced. There is a queen for 2 rooks, and looks like 2 rooks are doing so great in this end game. Will we see Salem losing one more time?
Yeah, I mean, here, of course, he might still escape because the queen is a very powerful piece and the black king is pretty exposed, so he has a lot of easy moves. So Svane technically should be winning. There goes the h-pawn. I think the pawn on f7 doesn't really matter. Its only purpose is to shelter the king from the checks. The h-pawn goes forward, and maybe Svane could overtake the leader.
It's possible, definitely. For Frederick, it's a super tough position right now. He is the last in the standings, so he has to start scoring the points. It would be a crucial day for Frederick to win this game.
Like, he's really so far behind. I mean, even from the 5th place, Wojtaszek, there's like 5-point difference, so that's why he would really welcome this victory, have some hope, even if, I'm not really sure if he has any theoretical hopes, but I don't think that he's really thinking about it. So Salek is fighting to save the game.
He's fighting and he's trying. We see that the rooks are defending the king, so there are no real checks. And meanwhile, the h-pawn is marching forward. Will be able, Saleh, to make a draw here.
Yeah, so here black can make a lot of easy moves, and the 50-move rule is light years away, essentially. So White is figuring out where to put the king. Queen f3.
He's
Pretty
trying.
weird move. He's attacking the pawn on f7.
And now rook g3 will be played to march the pawn forward. It is on the board. Now queen has to move. Is there queen c8 check?
Yeah, there's rook g5, h3. This should be already technically easy victory here.
Yeah, the pawn is marching too far. I think for Meren Grandmaster, it's going to be very sad result coming to the Blitz and losing these 2 games.
And a great victory for also the young German, because he's been struggling for the entire GMT tournament. He was usually in the time scramble, also part of some dramatic moments, but finally here he looks like he is going to score a very impressive victory. The h-pawn should promote to the queen. Salek is attempting to do the final tricks, but the logical outcome looks like that the Frederick, currently at the last place, might overtake the tournament leader.
Saleh is trying, he's still trying, giving these checks, but the pawn is already on h2, it's too far, you cannot really stop it. There are no checks in this position, we might see resignation at this moment. I see the handshake, and Frederick Svane is winning against Salem. Meanwhile, we still have 1 game ongoing, Nicolas Teodoro against Machun, unless the game just finished.
We don't have an update now. I think that black has won this game.
Just finished, yes.
Yeah, it just finished.
Something is happening. Wait a second,
there is some debate. Oh, there was even an arbiter involved. Okay, apparently things were... Oh.
Draw.
Draw. All I saw was the extra piece. But apparently there was perpetual check.
So probably someone claimed the threefold repetition. Probably White claimed the threefold repetition and made a draw. What I say for Nicolas Teodoro, looks like all the games in the round, in the Blitz round finished. Yeah,
let's check now the current results of the 3rd round. Here they are. Aravindh shared points with Voldar. Murzin Salem lost his 2nd game in 3 rounds for Frederick Svane. So for Svane, this is good news. Vladimir Fedoseev shared points with Wojtaszek. In the meantime, in the Challengers tournament, here we see there are the results. Jacobian scored a very important victory over David Navarra. Jumabayev against Darda finished in a draw. And also for Nicolas Teodoro, he is struggling to find a pace in the tournament after an impressive showing so far. He made a draw against Machun.
I enjoyed the action so far here. I mean, every round is impressive. So many tough results. And we see that the pro players from the last place are scoring victories against the first place. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I mean, the action is rolling forward really quick. Like, this already was the round 3, and we have still 7 rounds to go. But in the meantime, we're going for a really short break. So, dear viewers, come back after the break and follow the action here from Biel. We're back live from Switzerland following the action from the Blitz tournament here in the Biel Congress Center. As you can see, these are the current standings of the GMT Masters and Challengers Tournament, the main event of the 58th International Biel Chess Festival. Salem still keeps the lead of the Masters Tournament, but Aravindh is in close pursuit, only half a point behind. Also, Vladimir Fedoseev is within the breathing distance, 17 points. There's a very fierce fight for the fourth place. At the moment, it's Murzin with 14 points, but Wojtaszek is only half a point behind. In the meantime, in the Challengers Tournament, Nicholas Theodorou has a safe lead with 22 points. Aram is again very impressive in the second place with 18.5. And then again, we have Jumabayev, Machun, and David Navarro, and even Daniel Darda fighting for a place in the top 4.
By the way, Daniel Darda has right now 2 points out of 3 in Blitz, so he still has a lot of chances to strike back. Meanwhile, Svane also won against Salem, so he also has the chances in the Masters. And here we see the pairings for the next round. Radoslav Wojtaszek with white pieces against Aravindh, Svane against Murzin, Salem against Vladimir Fedoseev. And in the challengers, we see that David Navarro will take on Machun. Daniel Darda, who is now having 2 points, will play the current leader, Nicholas Theodorou, and Aram against Jumabayev. Arturs, which pairing is standing out for you?
I think we could follow definitely the game of Daniel Darda against Nicholas Theodorou, because that's the comeback of the Belgian Grandmaster against the tournament leader. Could be pretty important here. And there you go. The games are officially starting. D4, knight f6, and Trumpovsky is on the board.
And we see that this has been played. So now trade on g6, giving up the bishop for knight, but in exchange for some pawn structure.
Seems to be a pretty positional game here. The variation has some vibes from the London c4. So that attempts to destroy black center. I think the idea is to play knight c3 next, of course. And knight f3, just go for normal development.
Question is if you're playing c6 or take, and we see Nicholas Theodorou is going for take. Now there is a big center for white. Will they be able to use it?
How about a long castle, Angelica? I mean, this might spice you up things like queen c2, queen f3, and long castle. There you go.
Ooh, we are going to see long castle. We might see h4, h5 on the board, marching forward with a pawn, knight e2, first plate, not yet deciding where to castle, still keeping it as an option.
a6, so black is seeking for a counterattack, but you cannot play b5 because the rook at e8 is going to be under attack. The engine says it's too slow, but still a playable move.
Right now for Daniel, it's a very important match. He has to continue winning in order to get in the top 4 to stay in the finals. And looks like he's getting some advantage because one by one their mistakes are incoming from the current leader.
Yeah, it's again not super clear why all of these moves are really mistakes. And Darda is looking for the h4 move. Marks is a mistake. Apparently he could have done something better, but it's clear what he wants. He wants to play h4, but he needs to watch out for the h5. It might close things at the king side for good. So does he play g4 first? You need to calculate things very quickly here.
Yes, and there is also this knight on c6 for black. Will black be able to attack somehow on the queen side? Because now since there is a long castle, there might be some moves like b5, b4. You have to calculate all of it.
Yeah, but b5 drops the knight on c6, and that's why bishop d7 first follows. And clearly, black wants to open up the action at the queen side. So open up files, open up diagonals, and hope it works. Because I think in a blitz game, what matters is the short-term initiative, and both players are going against the opponent's king. g4 is on the board.
Yeah, here you go. The g4, as you were mentioning now, big question. h4, h5 is going to follow most likely. We'll see the open up the action on the king side. What can Nicholas do? Will he defend or will he try to start attack himself with a b5, b4? Big question.
Definitely, it makes sense. But if you play b5, there might be also bishop d5. So suddenly the knight on c6 is under attack. If we speak about the current ranking, so Theodorou is safe. I mean, he is leading the tournament with a very impressive 22 points. But for Darda, this might be a must-win scenario because he is currently in the last place, 1.5 points behind the 5th place. And then there's top 4 already within the reach.
Looking how he's doing so far in the Blitz, we might see the comeback from the Belgian champion because he has scored 2 points out of 3 rounds. We see knight b4 was apparently a mistake.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's
looks
very logical.
Perfectly logical. Of course, queen x on b7 is something that white will never do. a3, b5, there you go. Black goes for the complications.
We see that black is striking first, now sacrificing the knight on b4 for the bishop on c4. What are you doing? Is there any...
What about bishop b3? Where does the knight go? I mean, black is going to have to give up the material. Knight c6 is going to be bishop d5, pinning the knight on c6. So I think that Theodoro is going to have to sacrifice something here.
Oh, there will be some material sacrifice, most likely an exchange on a8 at the end of the line, but
Maybe
let's
even
see.
more, maybe a piece.
Ooh, bishop b3. He found it. Now knight c6. Will we see bishop d5 here?
How do you actually defend this? Because bishop d5 is very strong here. Maybe
You have to play knight
d4?
e7, maybe?
Yeah, but he doesn't want to trade the queens. That's the point, right? He doesn't mind to sacrifice the
Yes.
exchange. But what about the queen trade? Bishop takes on f4 doesn't change anything. There's going to be e takes on f4, and bishop takes on c6 is just an unstoppable threat. So black doesn't mind giving the exchange, but not the queen trade.
It's not going to happen. There should be something, and there should be some move in the position. And we see b4 has been played. He's still trying out, but...
Yeah, knight b4,
Still.
bishop a8. This is not good news. So what do? Maybe give up the piece for nothing? Like play a5 here, play rook b8? Knight b4, so he goes for it.
He goes for it. Now trading the queens. White is happily accepting. Now up material. Daniel Dart is going to the endgame. There might be still attack because we see the bishop pair for black. So Nicolas still has chances because also the king on c1 is super weak. The knight on b4 is strong. There is some opportunity to try to equalize the game.
And of course, also Dart immediately adjusts his strategy. He's no longer going for the kingside attack. He already got what he needed. He has the extra exchange. He's just trying to get it to the logical victory. The king goes to the king side, try to trade off the pieces, and finally win the game.
That was the biggest problem for him, the king, the weak king on the queen side. So he moves it to the center. And now big question, how will he defend the pawn on b2, or is there no problem at all?
Like rook d2, rook c1 looks reasonable to me, and this is exactly what the Belgian Grandmaster played. Also, I want definitely to trade one of those bishops, so I'm talking about most like knight e4. First, I need to remove the rook at h1, just in case not to walk into some pins. Make it as simple as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. We see this on the board. Meanwhile, 40 seconds for Greek Grandmaster. We see what happened. He
I'm quite
traded.
surprised about the trade. I would have thought the black would want to keep the Dogs with bishop alive. I mean, now the position looks to be a bit easier for white to play.
And there is no bishop pair anymore. No bishop pair, no attack.
Bishop c6 is going to be d5, so the pawn on d4 is a target. Rook k5. Of course, the position is still playable for black. He's not like dead lost.
Can you play d5 and rook d4? And that's what's happening right now.
Watch out for the fork, Angelica.
Ooh, let's not miss it.
Yeah, might easily miss it. So black will play bishop c8, bishop b7, target the pawn on d5. This game is not yet over.
Not over, but
How do you get to the pawn on a4? Not very clear.
but now he gives up a pawn for some reason. Can you take it, or there is going to be rook a5 back?
Take it,
Take
rook a5,
b3.
b3. Feels to be good, but you drop the pawn on d5.
Okay, big question. What do you do?
Darda has time. Maybe he wants to... I would actually bring the king to the safety. King g3 first. Okay, knight a4 is played, then b3.
Yeah, now we see rook a5, b3 is going to happen. There is no other way to defend the knight, and knight d5. Now question, rook a to d1. Is it
Makes
helping?
sense. Yeah, rook d1 makes sense, but first Darda brings the king to the safety. Also, rook c1, rook c5 would something be I would consider. I just want to make as many trades as possible. Rook c1, rook c5. Watch out for the f5 threat. The knight to d5 might be hanging.
Ooh, that's a big threat here in the position. F5.
15 seconds?
Yes. Nicolas is getting very low on the clock.
I guess you have to play f5, but white might take g-dex over g5.
It's letting the F5 immediately.
But now f5 was a move on rook c5. Okay, this didn't happen. Rook c5, this initiates the trade. I think Darda is going to do it. He has whole 46 seconds on the clock, extra exchange. He's playing really fantastic chess so far.
And now the bishop cannot move, so you can trade the knight for the bishop and you can go into the endgame. But first he goes h4. He's putting pressure on the pawn on g5. And this looks like the position he can easily convert.
h5 should fix the pawn on h6. I think you don't want to trade too many pawns than you have to. Black is attempting to set up some kind of a fortress.
But you can just always bring your king to the c7 pawn and just take it with a rook. So you can always sacrifice the rook for that pawn and then go forward.
Yeah, this should be technically winning. White's going to activate the king, the rook, go for the pawn on c7, as Angelica said. So here Darda is figuring things out. He has still plenty of time, 23 seconds on the clock.
Meanwhile, Nicolas has 8 seconds only to defend this very tough position. Will he be able to do? I mean, since he's current leader, he has been playing such a great tournament so far. But in the Blitz, it's not really working out.
He has
for
only
him so
50%,
well.
right?
He has only 1.5 points. Meanwhile, Daniel has 2 points, so he has huge chance to score a comeback today.
There comes the king, king f5, knight e5. So black's position is tearing apart slowly but carefully. I think I would play something like rook c1. There you go, rook c1 is played. Maybe some quiet mode like f3 to make sure not to blunder. That's the main rule normally for Blitz. You don't want to blunder anything, especially a fork.
Yeah, and we don't care about the pawn on b4 because once knight will jump away, the pawn on f6 is going to fall. Will we see rook e6 and take on f6? Will it happen?
In the meantime, we just saw Theodora making move with only 1 second on the clock. The pawn on f6 for the moment lives. Darda could play rook e6. He's checking some lines. 3 seconds, 2 seconds. You got to make a move. You got to make a move.
Faster. He played it with 1 second on the clock only. Now king e6 is coming forward.
And what just happened?
What just
King
happened?
e6. It seems that Darda won on time.
Oh, Daniel Darda won. We still have many games ongoing. Let's go to the Masters, the Frederick Svane against Volodar Murzin. That's the game we're still going on. Some very crazy endgame, but looks like too many pawns for Murzin.
Yeah, Murzin just technically winning. He can play king f3 here, or maybe the safe move, king d5, king c5 here. Things seem to be perfectly under control for him.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to push the pawns all the way forward. 3 seconds only for Frederick Svane, too low on the clock.
Yeah, e4, e3, e2. No, king c2. I love that. He's shouldering the king. D pawn goes forward. This is going to be easy victory because the white king cannot go anywhere. Black can sacrifice the knight for the passed pawn and then just wrap up everything at the king side.
Yeah, it looks like the game is going to finish very soon because the knight will be sacrificed in a few moments.
Of course, Svane
still
continues.
trying.
He's going for those kingside pawns. He's not pushing the c pawn forward, but I guess there's just nothing to be done.
Absolutely true. There is not much he can do anymore. It's the last game.
And there's the resignation.
Ooh, what a round we had. It's the last game which was ongoing. We already have all the rest of the games finished.
Everything is finished.
Ooh, what
Everything
a round.
is finished. Yeah, totally explosive round. And as far as I can see, all of the games, Angelica, have been decisive this round. So here are the current results of round 4 to Blitz tournament. Wojtaszek lost to Aravindh. Aravindh is in a really great shape. So what about his score? Frederick Svane just lost against Volodar Murzin. That's the game we just saw. Salem is in trouble. He loses already the 3rd game out of 4. This time he lost against Vladimir Fedoseev. In the meantime, in the Challengers tournament, David Navarra won against Machun. Daniel Darda scored a very important victory over the tournament and overall ranking leader Nicolas Theodorou. And Aram Hakobian, the co-leader, were in the 2nd place. He overtook Rinat Jumabayev.
Artur, that's why I love this Blitz Fortune so much. We have so many decisive games and so many unpredictable results. Absolutely amazing.
I mean, it just feels like with every single round, and you look at the temperature just rising up to the heating temperatures here in the Biel Congress Center. Everybody plays Blitz here today. There's also a huge open tournament going on. But dear viewers, we're going to make a short break and we'll be coming back to you with round 5 in several minutes. Don't go anywhere and come back after the break. We're back live from Biel here in Switzerland following the action of the Blitz tournament of the GMT Masters and Challengers, which is a triathlon in the Biel Congress Center. These are the current standings of the Masters and Challengers after 4 rounds of Blitz played. As you can see, Aravindh is the new leader of the triathlon because he had a strong showing in the Blitz, 18.5 points in his tally. In the meantime, Salem is a bit struggling. He's currently lost 3 games out of 4. He shared second place together with Vladimir Fedoseev, and Murzin seems to be pretty safe right now. Of course, many games to go over Wojtaszek to qualify for the final 4.
Yeah, and the challengers, we see that Nicolas Dodor is still holding the lead, but the players are coming closer and closer. Aram with 19.5 points. And now there is a big question who will qualify, because Rinat Jumabayev, Machun and David Navarro, all 3 of them have 13 points. They're sharing the 3rd till 5th place. Huge question who will go in the finals in the challenges. But meanwhile, Daniel Darda is doing pretty well. He's having 3 points in the Blitz. So with 11.5 points, he's also in the striking distance to get to the top 4 for the finals.
And it's going to be really tough for us to choose which game to follow. I suggest we're going to follow the game of Aravindh against Vladimir Fedoseev, because this is essentially the fight of the leaders. Although, of course, also in the challenges, there's another matchup of 2 leaders, which is Niklas Teodorov. He's facing Aram Hakovian, and the games are starting.
But I see that Aravindh is playing against Salem, apparently.
Oh.
Oh, wait.
Oh, wait. All right.
Yes.
Apparently, there's a bit mix-up. But anyway, let's follow the game right
Of
here.
course.
So, still, anyway, it doesn't really change anything. It's
Yes.
still a leader fight. Aravindh is the new leader, and Salem is in close pursuit.
Yes.
So we have a Kings in defense and the London on the board.
Yeah, and Saleh also was leading. They went after winning 3 games in a row in the Classical, but now in the Blitz, something is going on with him. He's losing 3 out of 4 games, so now it's the 5th round. He has to try to keep his lead, try to keep at least a draw, stop the bleeding. D4 is on the board.
Yeah, I mean, here White goes very aggressive for B5. I think the big idea is to play at some point. I want to play C4, C5, all right. Here, I think for Black, for Salem, the plan is very easy, and this is also very characteristic for the Kings in the defense. You want to go for a Kings attack, really suits the Emirati Grandmaster's playing style, and G5 is on the board.
We see that G5 is happening, so we're going to see a big fight. Who is going to attack whom? Is going to be Aravindh on the queen side, or we'll see Salem attacking on the king side.
So Queen E7 is played. Here in the meantime, Aravindh is attempting to play C5. Very, very important game, obviously, for the overall rankings, because this game might decide the new leader here. I mean, normally, Angelika, I would prefer Black's position a bit more, because Black has the easier game against the king, but of course, Engine, as usual, like White's position a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, for Blitz, this is a very dangerous choice, because if you're going to have a successful attack on the king, you're going to win it. If the White's attack is going to be successful, then it means they're going to win some material, but the king's safety, this is the most important. And also recalling their game in the Classical, remember that Arthur is that Aravindh had some chances, he was attacking. It was similar to the Classical game, as we can see, and the attack of the Salem was not so successful, but then later Aravindh made a huge mistake. So this mentally could also help Salem.
Yes.
C5 break is happening.
C5 break is happening, and we are seeing some moves on the board.
Yes, we see that C5 has just been played.
So the game continues.
Maybe we can zoom in on the position.
Yeah, and see what's going on. There's somebody climbing over it. We saw you.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. So no moves so far, but
We are not receiving any moves, unfortunately, so we
Maybe-
can follow the action live from the actual board. As we can see, it is obviously continuing, but we are not getting any incoming moves.
yes, but it's okay. We can see on the board there has been just moved H5 plate.
Found it. Yeah, we fixed it. There you go. There you go. There's the actual position. There you go.
Ooh, h5, h4.
Wow.
And the queen trade has happened
A
already.
lot has happened. I mean, here Salem has got a lot of space advantage at the king side, so we missed a couple of moves, but here he already has advanced pretty much all of his kings have pawns, and he enjoys some space advantage. Also, the evaluation bar says that black's position is to be preferred. In the meantime, the Indian Grandmaster is focusing on his game at the queen side.
Yes, and since there are no queens on the board anymore, the attack against the king is not so important, and the king is already on d1. So knight a2's offering a trade of the rooks. Are we going to see Salem trading a pair of rooks in this position? Definitely looks like black has so much more space on the king side. So for that reason, we see f4 is already on the board.
That's a great move. It initiates the knight f5 idea. Maybe even, I'm thinking about f3 ideas to get to the pawn on h3. So this f4 is a very, very thematic idea. I think he's simply going to take it, though, on e3. So black's attack at the king side looks a bit more real.
Yeah, it looks very dangerous because there is nothing you can do else on the queen side. Meanwhile, bishop of 1 apparently is a mistake. Will we see something? Is there some f3? Or?
f3, that's a very big
Yeah.
decision. I'm sure you can do that. I would play something like knight f5, but if you do that, watch out for knight b4, knight c6. Knight f5 is played, and here is going to be coming Aravindh with his contemplate the queen side.
He's jumping with the knight all the way to c6. You have to make sure you don't want to blunder anything because from c6, knight will be able to attack the pawn on a7 and jump to e5. Do you have to play knight d7 here or bishop d7 to stop? And he's going for it.
Yeah, bishop d7 is the safe move, of course, stopping knight c6 from happening. The other idea from white I can think of is some sort of an a5 idea. So rook a3, no. Knight b1 is played, and here comes the Emirati Grandmaster. He's going for a king set attack. g4 also might be an idea.
Look at this. Bishop doesn't have any squares. The only piece which can defend it is the it has okay e2, but the only piece which can defend it is the king. So are you playing?
King e1 is going to be rook c1. You cannot do that.
cannot do
Bishop
that.
is the only move. There might be g4 already somewhere. g4 looks very strong without a bishop g4 or knight g4, but the pawn on d5 could be under attack. You have to calculate again it very carefully here.
G4 is been played. Salem is calculating that it's working. 1 minute 20 seconds for Aravindh in this position. He's taking. He's trying to defend.
And I just love this, Angelika. This is once again shows how Blitz is unpredictable because Aravindh has a really great start in Blitz tournament and Salem Saleh has a terrible start, 1 point out of 4. But here it is exactly Saleh with the black color who is playing for the victory.
It looks like this, and bishop takes on g4. Now king f2. Will you be able to bring the rook to c1? Or?
Yeah, rook c1 looks very strong with some sort of a knight g4 at some point. I mean, the king might be in trouble, actually. I'm talking about checkmate ideas. Rook c1, bishop h5, and knight g4. Bishop d1, though.
Bishop e1 attacking the rook. Now rook c3 might be played to trade the rooks and target the pawn on d5. Is there a rook c3?
I think he missed it, but already look at this, Angelique. He's down on 39 seconds on the clock, and Aravindh does enjoy healthy 30-second advantage. This is a lot for a Blitz game.
And Aravindh is taking time in this position. Very important moment. And will he do it? Will he play it? We see 1 minute on the clock for Aravindh, but still he has time for a decision. Rook c3 is on the board.
Yes, of course, black is still containing. Rook c7 was not apparently...
Wait, knight e8?
Wait, really?
Knight
He
e8?
played it? I can't believe it.
Knight e8. If knight e8 is just winning. Wait, there was...
Apparently it was, but that was a pretty strange moment. Anyway, the game continues. So here, Salem has a winning position. The h-pawn should be rolling forward.
Very shocking. Now there is a pawn on e-file, there is a pawn on h-file. How are you stopping both of those pawns at the same time? Your knight on b1 is not playing rook f1. Now also surprising move. Is there any way to get the draw with the knight jumps?
Yeah, but this is getting really chaotic, Angelica, because knight e4, knight f6 is a big threat and the black king is in danger.
Now knight takes on e4, knight f6. Will we see this draw by repetition with the checks with the knight? He's taking it.
Pawn is gone, knight f6 is a big threat. Black could easily get checkmated here. You only have 10 seconds to calculate it.
Will we see it on the board now? h2 if you're going for it. There might be even ideas for a checkmate, but we see h2 is on the board.
I think this might be some repetition. I'm not entirely sure. The bar says
Which
it's a
knight?
draw, but 6 seconds only for black.
Which knight do you bring on f6? That's the biggest question because one might be a draw, the other one might not work, but maybe both of them are working.
Yeah, so no time to grab. So here Engine says any knight check on f6 should lead to a draw. Obviously, the king could go to h8 after knight f6. There's going to be rook h7 checkmate. So only move is king f8. So Salek is ready to prime already the king move. There you go. Knight g5.
Wait, what is going on?
There is a
check. Checkmate threat now with knight h7 and knight h6, but it looks there are so many checks.
And rook takes a double exclam move we have here on the board. Rook takes an f6 is the move, but there's knight h7. Oh, bishop c2 stops knight h7. Check, Angelica. Look at that.
Rook, but there is also h1 pawn coming to a queen. What happened? What a miss.
Absolutely crazy. And now
God.
here Salem is going to win it. Totally crazy. I mean, I had a feeling at some point, Angelica, he's simply going to get checkmate. Here he's going to seal the deal.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this looks incredibly crazy. What has just happened? I'm still in the shock out of this.
Of course, out of inerts, the players continue here, but the game is officially finished. Angelica, do we have some updates from the other games you want to follow? I'm pretty sure that Salek is going to win this game and reclaim the leadership.
Yeah, we still have a game of Volodar Murzin still ongoing.
So that's the game you suggest to switch?
Yeah, the game is over. The game is over. Yeah, let's go there.
The game's over.
Sure
Murzin is over?
No, this current game is over.
Yeah, this game is over. Let's switch to
the
Murzin. Where's his game?
Okay.
So let's switch maybe to the Challengers tournament. There's the game of Nicholas Theodorou against Aram Hakovit. Also, very important game of two tournament leaders. Nicholas, once again, is struggling. Look at that. So he is playing with white. He's down 2 pawns, and it's Hakovian who's playing for the win here.
He is trying his best. Nicholas, as he lost earlier against Daniel Darder as a leader of the tournament, he's losing his shape here in Blitz, as I can see, leading the whole event, winning the classical games, but now he is in trouble.
Rook f5, definitely not rook f3 is played. A double question mark move? Why? It's a double question mark. Okay, not really clear. But what is clear that black is about to promote the h-pawn. Watch out for the knight attack. Rook takes on g5. Wait, how is it winning? Knight f1 check is a big threat.
Oh, now you have to play either king f2 or king f3.
Yeah, but knight f1. The game continues.
Ooh. Knight is jumping to 5. Might be some checks in the position. Oh, knight e5.
Very nice deflection.
Beautiful move.
That is beautiful. Yeah, that is beautiful. I think here knight h4, king f2. This pawn is going forward. You cannot stop it. Knight g3. This is desperation. Sometimes I believe this Lloyd's endgame where you can play knight h1 and with a king on f2 you get a draw, but the king is not getting there and Hakovian wins.
And still the game of Machun against Daniel Darder is taking place, so let's dive in there immediately.
And Darder is winning again.
Ooh, Darder is on the roll. Wait, there was some evaluation bar. I think maybe some blunder.
Absolutely crazy swings. We have no time to check it because the players are below on 10 seconds for both sides. Queen takes an f4. There's the pawn, and I think there's got to be a mate. Oh, rook a2 is not available. You have to be careful here. Queen f5. The queens are traded.
Yeah, it looks like that. There is just a rook with extra pawn for a knight, which is definitely not going to be enough for white to keep the draw here. He's still trying to get the fortress, but no, you can always sacrifice a rook for a knight.
Yeah, so here it seems that Darder is going to score yet another impressive victory here. Of course, Machun is continuing and attempting to save the game, but it doesn't look like he can do it. And there's the resignation, and Darder scores yet another impressive victory. What a comeback for the young Belgian grandmaster. We had yet another explosive round, Angelica. So many decisive games. We saw the games between leaders, both in Masters and Challengers. So, wow.
Absolutely incredible result by Daniel Darder, now winning against Machun, still having a chances to come to the top 4 in the Challengers. Meanwhile, Renat Jumabayev winning against David Navarro, scoring a very important win because he was not doing so well in the Blitz. We see Aram Hakovian win against Nicholas Theodorou. He's not doing well as a current leader of the Challengers. There might be someone who is going to take over him. And in Masters, we see Salem winning, finally getting the victory against Aravindh, who was doing very well in the Blitz. Vladimir Fedoseev scoring a win against the young German superstar Svane. And there is a draw, only draw in this round of Volodar Murzin against Radoslav Wojtaszek.
Pretty much the message here is no prisoners are taken in Blitz games because usually there is one winner. Winner takes it all as usual. So this was round 5 of the Blitz tournament. Half of the distance is officially over. We have more action coming for you, dear viewers, because we're going to go for a short break. But make sure you come back in several minutes and follow the action of round 6 here from Biel. We're back live from Biel Congress Center where the 58th International Biel Chess Festival takes place. Today is the day for a lot of Blitz action, and these are the current standings of the GMT Masters and Challengers, the main event of the festival. Salem once again is the leader of the overall rankings. He is leading the tournament together with Vladimir Fedoseev, but Aravindh is only half a point behind him. In the meantime, Murzin is attempting to qualify for the final four. He's currently in the fourth place, but Wojtaszek is not so far behind.
And look at that, Svane with 9 points. It looks like for him it's not going to be enough because 5 more rounds, even if he scores 5 victories, he's going to be out. So we might securely say the Svane is being eliminated. Meanwhile, in the challengers, Nicolas Theodor is holding the lead, 1.5 points in front of Aram Hakoban. Meanwhile, Rinat Jumabayev having 14 points, but right behind him is Machun and David Navarro with 13 points. But look at that, Arthurs. Daniel Darda with 12.5 points, scoring win after win, currently having 4 out of 5 points.
Yeah, that's an amazing comeback story. And here are the current pairings for the round 6. As you can see, the exciting action: Svane versus Wojtaszek. Murzin takes on Salem. Aravindh against Fedoseev. Could be one of the most interesting games. In the meantime, in the challengers, Navarro is going to take on Daniel Darda, the leader of the Blitz tournament. Makun is going to play Aram Hakoban. Also, Aram has a very good run. And in the meantime, the overall ranking leader, Nicolas Theodor, is facing Rinat Jumabayev.
Yeah, and we see the moves already on the board for both Nicolas and Rinat. The tournament, the Blitz tournament, is not going so well. So we're going to see a very critical matchup for this round. Both of the players want to score more points.
So we have some Bogo Indian Queen's defense position here, and Black just played Bishop b4 and Bishop takes on d2. Typically, White takes with the Queen so that the Bishop can go on the long diagonal. No, Knight takes on d2 idea. All right.
Yeah, it looks like this happened. So e3 is on the board, developing the bishop. But look, watch out for the g2 pawn. Potentially, it could be targeted by the bishop from b7. You cannot develop the bishop right now on d3. Do you want to play f3?
Technically, you can. I mean, you can play bishop d3, rook g1, and sacrifice the pawn.
Ooh, he's going for it.
And exactly, this is what happens, Angelika. Nicolas is attempting to spicy up things. And by the way, he can still castle both ways.
Yeah, bishop b2 is on the board. Still unclear which game we're going to see, but for sure, there will be a fight. We might see a short castle as well, but long castle would spicy up the position.
Yeah, I mean, the c5 is a very nice move to remind White if you castle longside, there might be consequences. D takes on c5 is a good move for the Greek grandmaster because he opens up the bishop on b2, and as you can notice, Black doesn't have the darks with bishop.
Yes, there is a bishop pair advantage for White in this position. Both players are blitzing out the moves very quickly. To remind dear viewers, for Nicolas, there is already a safe ticket into the finals, but it's Rinat Jumabayev who has to score a couple of wins, a couple of points in order to stay in the game, because right now he's on the 3rd place, but right behind him there is like a huge pack of the players.
I mean, everyone literally could qualify. I mean, there's 4 people trying to take the last 2 remaining spots for the final 4 because Nicolas Theodor and Hakobian, they already essentially have booked their places, but Jumabayev, Machun, David Navarro, or the Blitz tournament leader Daniel Darda, all of them, they want to make it.
They want to make it for sure, and rook c8 has just been played. Queen e2, we see the short castle has happened, so Nicolas doesn't want to risk in this game, as we can see.
Yeah, in the meantime, White does enjoy some space advantage. Also, the bishop pair. There goes the counterattack by the Kazakhstani grandmaster, d5. I think he just wants to improve the knight on f6 and see where it takes. Also, watch out for d takes on c takes on d5, bishop a6.
Yeah, this looks very threatening, so Black has to make sure. That's why Black is taking on c4. Now we say approximately balanced position. Probably it's time for us to check out the game of Machun against Aram Hakoban because there is a crazy action happening in that game. Look at this.
Look at that. The White King is on d2. It's walking. So what's the material balance? 1 to 3-4, 1 to 3-4. Something is terribly wrong for the Chinese grandmaster.
What happened? I mean, absolutely amazing. There could be some queen e3 checks, but you have to be sure because once the king steps back, the bishop will attack a queen. But pawn on c4, I mean, the king looks in trouble. What is going on?
This was some absolutely crazy action in the opening phase. Anyway, let's focus on what we have at hand here. Bishop a3, of course, white position is pretty dangerous with the king on d2 because normally this is not where you're supposed to keep your king. And I think that here Jacobian wants to find a way to open up the position. But for the moment, the rook on f8 is under attack.
Has to be moved. We might see in this game that Aram Jacobian will try to eliminate in a way Machun, because if he's going to win for Machun, it's going to mean a disaster. He might go down to the 5th or 6th place. This is something unbelievable which might happen.
This bishop e3 check, Angelika, was very smart check. You couldn't go to c2, it would be queen b3 checkmate, so black has a draw in the pocket. Of course, Jacobian is in no mood to make a draw here because he's currently running really hot in the Blitz tournament. Knight takes 6, he just sacrificed the exchange, Angelika, and the knight eventually is going to the d3 square.
And how are you going to stop it? Bishop takes f8. You're just going to recapture the bishop, and knight is coming all the way to d3. Queen b1 trying to trade the queens in order to let the attack be a bit less in the position, but I don't think Aram is going to trade the queens.
I mean, for Machun, this is a very important game, of course, because he is one of those 4 players fighting for the 2 spots. I mean, Jacobian probably just enjoys the atmosphere in the tournament, right? He's in very solid 2nd place. So there you go, knight c5. He just rejected white's idea to take on f8.
Yeah, look at this. Knight can jump to d3 any moment, even if the queen is trade is happening. Knight d3 check, but it didn't stop by knight on c1. Now bishop d4, targeting the knight on c3.
Again, white plays king d2. I mean, there's got to be already some clear way to win the game, like bishop takes on c3. King is going to go to c3, so this is not the king of the hill for you. I mean, this is a blitz game, and the king has to be protected, but there's nothing that white can do about it.
It's nothing, absolutely. King is still in the center. I mean, this is absolutely total opening disaster for the Chinese grandmaster. They might behold the sacrifice in the word, Arjos.
I would definitely consider this, Angelika. Bishop c3, knight e4, takes, bishop f5. But again, you can see the queen on b6 is under attack. So Jacobian goes for a more solid approach, and Engine marks this as a miss.
Apparently, some other opportunity was there, but bishop a6 looks like a logical move, defending the pawn on c4, increasing pressure against the king on d2. What are you doing here as white? Because all the sacrifices...
Trade the queens as quickly as possible. I mean, it's so dangerous here for white. You got to trade the queens. I understand the position is very dangerous. Black has, what does he have? Like an extra pawn, but I mean, there's nothing you can do about it.
Absolutely nothing. Definitely, Arthurs, we see a huge attack happening here. Meanwhile, in the Masters, we see Salem is being in the charge, in the lead against Wojtaszek Murzin. Shall we take a look at that game?
Let's go to that game. So Salem selects game against Wojtaszek Murzin. Also is very, very terrible actually for white.
Absolutely. What has happened? I mean, Wojtaszek was doing so great in the Blitz, but Salem is managing to get another victory.
Yeah, so here black is perfectly under control. Rook d5, rook d4, g5. Just really great position here. Black enjoys an extra pawn. Also, white has some weaknesses at the king side here. This should be technically winning, but of course you need to show the technique. And also notice the clock difference for both players. Black has almost 2 minutes on the clock and Murzin only 26 seconds.
Yeah, he has very little time on the clock. There is an extra pawn on the king's side. Salem will be trying to convert this position, but the bishop might try to stop the knight.
King f6 is played. These pawns are rolling forward. Rook d2. Black is just having all the fun in this position. I mean, knight e4, maybe in rook takes on f2 and knight e4. That's why Murzin plays king f1, king e1.
Yeah, it's probably for sure that rook a2 now trying to target the pawn on a3 and delivering some checks on a1. How do you stop it?
By the way, Angelika, I'm seeing that going back to this game of Machun against Aram Jacobian, there's this absolutely crazy game. It's going to some totally uncertain position here. Let's switch back to this game because we would have thought that Jacobian is going to win his game. Now somehow white is better. How did this happen?
Absolutely unbelievable. What is going on? I mean, the queen trade has happened. Suddenly, there is just an exchange for white. It's extra exchange, Arthurs. I mean, will white be able to convert it?
Yeah, but I mean, black is, again, having a lot of activity here. There comes the rook, a knight, b3. Is that the mate, actually, Angelika? King b1?
Ooh.
Knight b3, that's a mate.
Will we see a
That's
checkmate on b2? There is a handshake, not allowing checkmate on the board.
The Chinese
What a miss.
grabs the head. He just cannot believe it. Maybe let's switch to the game of David Navarre against Daniel Darda, because this is also a very, very critical game to qualify for the final four. Darda currently leads the Blitz tournament, and he's gaining more points with every minute.
But look at this endgame. The rook on d6 is super active for white. And evaluation bar goes all the way up. Now king e4 trying to catch the pawn on e5. Will we see David scoring a first win against Daniel Darda?
So the tournament leader could be going down.
Absolutely it is. And for Daniel, it is going to be a disastrous because he for sure needs to keep scoring points. He's half a point behind David right now in the standings. Some trade is happening.
Still not clear, Angelica. These rook-king games can be really tricky. I think White's going to go for the g-pawn at some point, like king g6 and g5. Here you go, the bar drops. No, White is good again.
Yeah, rook e7. Now there is a problem on g7 suddenly. This extra c-pawn, it's very tough to stop it. Is a rook a8
Rook
already?
a8, yeah, that makes sense. You have to check it. I think it should be winning. And Navarre had like literally 5 seconds to make the decision. I think he's going to do it.
Going for it. And just recalling how he was losing on the clock earlier. We see a handshake. Still one more game is ongoing. It's Murzin against Salem. Let's dive into that one. See if there is anything else happening. And we see that actually the game just finished. Salem won against Volodar Murzin. What a result.
Yeah, and it looks like all of the games are officially finished. I mean, the action is totally crazy, changing at any minute. And also, of course, the, this game of Machun against Aram Jacobi, and that was quite something, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It was absolutely disastrous. And here we see the results of the round 6. We see the draw between Frederick Svane, who is not fighting anymore for top 4, against Radoslav Wojtaszek, who is still trying to get there. Volodar Murzin losing to Salem. Now Salem is securing his lead. And meanwhile, Vladimir Fedoseev is also the joint leader after beating Aravindh, who had an incredible run in the Blitz. Meanwhile, in the challengers, David Navarre is taking down on Daniel Darda, who was leading the Blitz tournament, scoring this very important victory and securing his position. Meanwhile, Aram Hakobian trying to disqualify Machun from the final, scoring a victory, and Nicolas Teodoro plays a draw against Rinat Jumabayev, who don't have such a great tournament in the Blitz.
Wow, yeah, this was quite something. I mean, the action is going on with very, very quick pace, and here we are seeing the current standings after 6 rounds in the Blitz tournament. Of course, 4 rounds still to be played, and we still have a shared lead in the Masters tournament. Salem Saleh is sharing the lead together with Vladimir Fedoseev. Aravindh has lost his momentum. He's currently 1.5 points behind the tournament leader. Murzin is currently in the 4th place, but not yet safe to qualify for the final 4 because Wojtaszek is only 1 point behind.
For Frederick Svane, it's already a game over. The tournament is going to finish today because he doesn't have any theoretical chance to qualify. Meanwhile, in the challengers, Nicolas Teodoro is still holding the lead, but only currently with 1 point in front of Aram Hakobian. Aram is doing so great in Blitz. He's trying to catch up and even overtake Nicolas. Meanwhile, this is a true thriller here. Rinat Jumabayev, 14.5 points. Half a point behind is David Navarre with 14 points. Machun, 13 points. And Daniel Dardas, 12.5 points. Every single player of this has a chance to still qualify. This is the big round now for all the challengers to get there in the top 4 places.
And for Darda, of course, this is a setback, of course, right? It's very, very difficult to keep the winning ways, and he was doing really great with 4 points out of 5, and he is fighting for the final 4. Of course, 4 more games to go, and Angelica, I think we can expect that it's going to be totally thrilling final rounds.
Absolutely, and someone told that Blitz is always some kind of luck. There is always a chaos happening, and winning the Blitz tournament is just either you were doing well, like did you wake up right, did you sleep well the other night, doing well. It's incredibly important mentally for the Blitz portion. We see so many surprising results.
If I would ask you which was your game of the day so far, I mean, definitely some of the games, Angelica, stood out more than others.
Definitely they have. I mean, the recent game, which was just played of Aram Hakobian against Machun, I mean, this is definitely complete craziness, but also the game of Murzin, where he missed against Aravindh and forgot to play h6, and after basically a couple of moves it was game over out of the opening for reigning rapid champion. So there are so many unpredictable results in the Blitz.
All right, we have 4 more games to go, so dear viewers, don't go anywhere. We're going to make a very, very short break and be back after a couple of minutes with more action from the 58th International Biel Chess Festival. We're coming back live from the Biel Congress Center where the action is unfolding while we're celebrating the International Chess Day also here in Biel, Switzerland. As you can see, these are the pairings for round 7 of the main event GMT Masters and Challengers. There's going to be some very huge matchups. For example, Aravindh in the Masters is going to take on Frederick Svane. Vladimir Fedoseev is going to take on Murzin. In the meantime, Salem is going to play against Radoslav Wojtaszek.
Yeah, and we see in the challengers, Nicolas Theodoro is going to have white pieces against David Navarro. Rinat Jumabayev will face Machun, and Aram Hakobian will face the current leader of the Blitz, Daniel Darda, who is having 4 points.
So more action coming, 4 more games, and I think all eyes are on who is going to make it to the top 4, because I think for the leaders, they have a bit more easier time because they're fighting for extra points for the triathlon. But for those who want to make it to top 4, for example, for Radoslav Wojtaszek, it's a very important fight. Also, of course, for Daniel Darda and Makun and Valdar Murzin and Rinat Jumabayev. As you can see, these are the current standings. So once again, to refresh your memory, dear viewers, after the Blitz tournament is going to be finished, top 4 players from both Masters and Challengers, they're going to qualify for the final stage and more classical games.
Yeah, we see in the Masters, Salem and Vladimir Fedoseev are in the joint lead with 20 points. Only 1.5 point behind them is Aravindh, who is trying to get better and strike more in the Blitz. Those are the 3 players who are, we can say, guaranteed to get in the finals. But what about Volodar Murzin and Radoslav Wojtaszek? This is going to be a big question here, because Volodar Murzin has 15.5 points and Radoslav Wojtaszek has 14.5 points, just 1 point behind. It's going to be a huge fight between these two to get the 4th and final place into the finals. And in the challengers?
Yeah, in the challengers, as you can see, there's a very, very close race between the 2 leaders, and the huge race going for the final 2 places. I mean, for Daniel, the last round was a setback, Angelica, but I think everything can still change, even though I think for Daniel, it's going to be really difficult now to make it because it's only 4 rounds to go. But of course, everybody's fight until the very end.
Absolutely. There has been a lot of fights in all these rounds. I mean, this is round number 7 already. So it means we have 4 more rounds to go. There is still chance for all the players to stay in the game. And we see that the players are already getting seated. Aravindh with white pieces against Svane. For Frederick, the tournament is already over. But for Aravindh, it's very important to score all these points because it will matter later in the finals. After the rest day, they're going to place against each other in the top 4 of the leaderboard.
There's basically almost no rest for the players because every game is bum, 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 one after another, 5-minute break, and you have to continue with the next game. And for some of the players, this is the hardest event because, again, the action continues very quickly, and it really depends. In which shape are you right now? For example, for Salem, usually he's really good at Blitz, like we already mentioned this earlier. Last year's edition, he scored 9 points out of 10. In this year's edition, it's a bit more challenging for him, but it's still good.
It's still good in comparison to Wojtaszek, who is currently on the 5th place, right? 1 point behind of Murzin, which means this game right now, which we see on the screen against Salem, is going to be super important for Polish Grandmaster. Will he be able to strike with black pieces against current leader of the standings, Salem? And this is big question.
And you can see, I mean, the Emirati Grandmaster is all smiles. He's getting ready for the game. But I was also very happy to see, Angelika, that even after the terrible start, 1 point out of 4, I could see him smile. And of course, he understands this is only a Blitz event. He already has made it to the top 4. And yesterday in the interview, he said, after my question, which is your favorite event, is it the Blitz? Because, of course, he's incredibly good in Blitz. He said, actually, no, I think it's the classical chess. I was surprised.
Yeah, he's joining it a lot, definitely, because he also scored 3 victories in the row. We see the handshake, by the way. The games start. We see 1d4 is on the board. Knight f6, what's going to be?
Probably some Nimzo. Oh, I guessed it. A3, the trendy move. There you go. This is gonna be fun.
This is going to be definitely fun. The white is getting the bishop pair, but bad pawn structure.
Angelika, this is the repeat of the rapid, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
They already played it. They already played it. I mean, Select basically did it against Volodar Murzin. They repeat the openings. Here it's the same. So in Blitz, he is trying to revisit what they already played in the Rapid. If I'm not very bad with my memory, Angelique, I think that Wojtaszek won that game because Select's attack at the queens did not work. And was it also that game where Wojtaszek castled the queen side? We might see something like this happening here as well.
We might see it repeating in the Blitz portion already, but both of the players, very, very important game. For sure, for Salem, it's already a safe ticket to the finals, but for Radoslav Wojtaszek is the game about the life or death here. He has to stay in the game, in the tournament. He says to survive, but look at this, Artus. Computer slightly prefers white here.
Yeah, I mean, typically Angel likes this. I mean, space advantage to bishops, etc. And black is normally trying to organize the counterplay against the pawn on c4. And thanks to the evolution of modern chess engines say the pawn on c4, the viewers doesn't really matter because you can just give it up. And especially for a Blitz game, then focus on a kingside attack. There you go. d5 is played. I think we might see knight a5 and potentially also bishop a6.
Yeah, we might see it because the c4 pawn is a weakness in the white's position, but no, he goes knight e7.
That's surprising.
That's very much surprising. Where does the knight go? Maybe knight wants to defend the position of the king on the king's side, but that looks very passive because as black you have to create weaknesses for white in this position.
Perhaps Angelika, he's looking for some kingside counterattack with f5, but for this I think white might include some g4 idea and try to squeeze black in earnest. So I don't know, can you play g4 here because black could also respond with g5 and then that knight from e7 could go to f4? Probably not, and queen e2 is played.
Queen e2 is on the board. Now there might be some sacrifices in the position on h6, so you have to make sure they're not working. For now, of course, it's a bit too much, but in the future, we might see something happening on the h6.
Yeah, so bishop takes on h6 is something that black needs to keep an eye on, and you don't really have the time to calculate things. You want to make sure it doesn't happen. So I would say king h7 looks reasonable. No, knight g6 is the move here. Also, Angelique, I think that white might be thinking about some g3 f4 ideas or maybe g4 g5 ideas. Anyway, one thing is clear. White is going to focus on the king side.
Definitely they are, and knights are there ready to defend. Now knight goes to h7. We might see this f5 break. Will we, Arturs?
Yeah, it makes sense because black's knight h7, I think it signals exactly that. So here Wojtaszek is looking for some counterplay, and now the question is how Salem is going to meet it. He has a couple of ways to do it. He can play either g4 or queen c2, and yeah, queen c2 basically stops it.
Queen c2 is on the board, not going too far, not marching forward with the pawns just yet. f5 is not in the picture, so king h8, the prophylactical move has been played. What is it prophylaxis against, Arturs?
Oh, I don't know, just bring king a bit further away from the sin. And here comes the queen, queen h4. I think g3 is a good move for white just in case to prepare the f4 push. And I really like this last move, Angelika, rook f2, because this also means that white will slide the queen side rooks over to g1 and then look for ways to open up the king side.
Yeah, we definitely are going to see attack on the both sides. Meanwhile, the queen on h5 almost doesn't have any squares to go. It's looking like it's almost trapped. You have to make sure that it's not getting trapped, but f5 is indeed...
f5 is the big idea, and here Salem has to decide what's he gonna do. Is he gonna allow it? Because also not always this f5 really favors black, because white could just take it and in some lines gain control of the e4 square, or instead you play f4 but watch out for the weakened light squares. Maybe Salem's position is not really that great.
Yeah, for sure. He has to make sure that works. So will it be g4 or some other improving move? We'll find out. Meanwhile, he has 1 minute and 5 seconds on the clock in this position. Vladislav Wojtaszek is 1.5 minutes right now. Will we see g4? No, he goes for rook a to f1.
It, of course, makes perfect sense. I think he's anticipating f5, and maybe in some lines he wants to play f4, counter-attack, and that's why the rooks here nicely stand. But there goes Wojtaszek. He doesn't play f5, he plays knight g5 instead, because what white might want to change in his position is the weakness on h3. So watch out for knight h3, and then possibly f5, and white might not have the f4 push.
Might be no time for that. Knights are very aggressively looking at the king side position of white. I'm even not sure who is attacking whom right now, because queen on c2 is not helping at all in the defense.
30 seconds here. I mean, for white, the position is not really so easy to play, and I think here Wojtaszek is slowly but carefully trying to take over the game because he is the one who has the easier move. So g4 was a very big responsible decision, and the engine doesn't like it, but it makes sense.
Yeah, queen h4 now is on the board, trying to attack even more. Now queen d2 targeting the knight on g5. Do you have knight h3 in the position?
Yeah, some knight h3, queen f6, knight f4 ideas. Here the Polish Grandmaster seems to be taking over the game, and bishop d7 was a really cool move. He's suddenly going for a queenside counterattack. b5 might be a move here, and it's on the board.
b5 is on the board, opening up the diagonal for the bishop. Now it's going to be a really tough fight in this.
And Wojtaszek is fighting also to qualify for the top 4, because currently he is 1 point behind Volodar Murzin. So this is also one of the final chances for the experienced Polish Grandmaster to make it, and nothing is decided.
It's definitely for him super important this game. White doesn't take on c4, allowing the black taking on c4, and suddenly rook is entering the b file. What is going on here?
Black is completely outplaying here Salem, so dominating all the weaknesses. So here you see black controls all the queen side, all the king side. White has no counterplay, but watch out for Salem because he's very tricky in the time scramble.
He's a very dangerous player. We have seen him already scoring very nice upsets and huge results.
The queen. Oh, wait, is it dropping? No?
Queen
is it?
d1?
Queen d1, there might be some check. Rook h2 is winning. Rook h2 is winning.
Rook h2.
Rook h2, queen h4, queen g3 is amazing.
It's on the board. Rook h2 has just been played.
What a game.
Oh, absolutely incredible result by Vladislav Wojtaszek. What a win. Let's dive in immediately into the game of Aravindh against Frederick Svane. We see that there is a knight on d5 in the position. Is he attacking? What is going on?
Oh, that's a complete mess on the board. So Aravindh is one of the tournament leaders, and Frederick is currently in the last place. Doesn't mean he cannot play chess for fun. And here, black has, what does he have actually? I'm trying to calculate, Angelika. He has like an extra pawn or two?
Yes, it looks like this. But now he's taking back the pawn on f4. Now it's only one extra pawn for black. Queen g7.
I mean, White's position feels to be a bit easier to play because he's the one who is attacking, and the black king feels quite exposed. Bishop g4 engine marks as the accurate move. King h8, the king goes to the safety. Knight e6, White goes for a counterattack.
Wondering why is the evaluation bar is going all the way down. Is it just a pawn?
But I mean, both players are playing on the increment here. No time to calculate. Rook d6, does it work? No, rook h6. Oh.
Ooh, rook h6.
I was thinking rook d6 and c7 might be an option here.
Look at that.
Bishop d5.
Take over of the game. Is it the checkmate?
No,
not
checkmate, but black loses a piece.
Oh, the piece is going away. The position, you cannot do it. Now rook takes h7.
Aravind's going to win this game, I think. I mean, here black is losing a piece, so also the king is in danger. So the rook on g8 could be a checkmate, and here you can see the facial expression of Svane. Oh my goodness, how did I mess this up?
Yeah, absolutely. Shocking. He's resigning, and we still have a game of Fedoseev against Murzin. Let's dive into that game because there's still a lot of action.
Murzin is trying to qualify for the top 4.
Oh, what an incredible action we have here. Radoslav Wojtaszek winning the game, but Volodar might even jump further in the standings.
Yeah, so here Murzin enjoys the extra exchange, and essentially it's a race. So which pawn is going to be faster? So here the engine says that black is faster, but I'm not yet 100% convinced because also the white pawns are going forward very quickly.
Yeah, and also there is a very strong bishop there in the position. There are a couple of repetition with the rook. Will there be b3 move? No, there would be bishop e6. Not yet happening.
And there's bishop e6 or bishop h7. Here you see the bar is having very wild swings, and players have literally no time.
Is there rook g7?
7 seconds.
Rook g7. Can you give up a rook for a pawn? No, not yet.
And here comes white. He can already promote the g pawn. Rook b8 marks is a mistake. Rook f7, rook f8. Gotta say once more.
What do you do? And now rook b1. Suddenly, oh my God, what is going on? Suddenly,
he's winning.
Suddenly,
just like that. I mean, Murzin
what
can't
is
believe
happening?
it. I mean, look at this. Black pawns are not going anywhere. The bishop is holding it.
The bishop is incredible piece in the position and just holding those pawns. Rook e7, final try to take the bishop, but now rook c8 check.
Can still change everything. So here the game can end either way. So there comes another pawn. I think now Fedoseev has got this. I mean, he's very fast with his pawns, and Murzin should realize it's lost and he resigns.
And we still have one more game in Challengers ongoing. Rinat Jumabayev against Machun. Let's dive in immediately there. We still see the moves. Both players under increment.
This is also the fight for the top 4 because there's essentially 4 players fighting for 2 spots in the event. So white has an extra pawn, but the white king is also feeling somehow awkward. I'm not sure, Angelique. I think I would play this position from the black's perspective, just because if I get to the pawn on f2, might be just winning for black.
It looks like this, and rook a4, and I'm defending the bishop. Now, there is an extra pawn in the position, but there could be ideas of the checkmate in the position. You have to always calculate, because rook c1, if there is no bishop, it would be a checkmate.
Rook takes on d7.
Wait a second, how do you stop the checkmate?
Rook f1. Watch out for this rook f1. I'm playing for the win here. I mean, I'm still down a pawn, but I'm playing for the win, and that's why white played rook c2. But there's rook e1, rook e2 threat.
And there is no way to play a move with a king. You have to move the rook. King is entering the position. Now, king c4.
I think he's going to figure it out. I mean, okay, first he's going to position the king somewhere safe, and rook e1, rook e2 is unstoppable threat. We're seeing really wild swings by the engineer here. I mean, literally on seconds, it's impossible to calculate all of this.
Definitely it is not, but this idea of bringing the king or rook e1, rook e2 is there for black, even though black is down a pawn. What an incredible position.
Machun needs the victory. He needs the victory here because he's 1.5 points behind Rinat Jumabayev. So this for him is an incredibly important game to make it to the top 4.
So now rook f1 targeting the pawn, and it looks like it's... It looks like he's winning now. Can he just move away the rook and push the pawn forward?
Yeah, I think now he should be winning.
Rook f1, rook a1.
Rook f1.
And just push?
Yeah, but there's so many ideas. There's so many ideas. Like also you want to include a king. Yeah, king e3, rook d1. I think he's going to do it. He is going to do it.
Yeah, rook a1, now rook d1 and f2 pawn would march forward. But there is h pawn.
That's a very, very big loss, of course, also for Jumabayev, because he's also fighting very hard for the place in top 4. There goes the rook. White's pawns go nowhere. And I think we're going to see resignation in a second. There it goes.
Incredible result by Chinese Grandmaster, scoring super important victory for overall standings. And this was the last game of round 7.
let's check the current results of the round number 7 because all the games have been decisive. As you can see, literally, I'm trying to calculate. I wanted to say all the white wins. No, black is winning a couple of games as well. Anyway, Aravindh won his game against Svane. This crazy game we're following. Fedoseev escaped a certain death in his game against Murzin, managed to turn losing position into a winning one. Salem lost another game against Wojtaszek, so Wojtaszek keeps his chances for the top 4 alive. In the meantime, Nicholas Theodorov finally scored a very important victory to keep the lead in the tournament against David Navarra. Rinat Jumavar just lost a critical game to fight for the top 4. And also, Aravindh is chasing the leader Theodorov by winning Daniel Darda. And for Darda, this looks pretty bad.
Yeah, it does look pretty bad, but in the overall standings, look at this. In the Masters, we see Vladimir Fedoseev is taking the sole lead with 1 point in front of Salem. Meanwhile, Aravindh is half a point behind of Salem with just 19.5 points, but 4th and 5th place, absolute thriller here, Radoslav Wojtaszek and Volodar Murzin are both with 15.5 points. Who is going to qualify for the finals? The final rounds of Blitz are going to be crucial for both of these players. And what's going on in the challengers?
Yeah, in the challengers here you can see Nicholas still keeps the lead by 1 point over Aravindh. And for Kakobian, this is also pretty good news before the start of the Classical at the Final 4. In the meantime, the race for the Final 4 is getting really, really close. I mean, I think that it's pretty safe to say that for Daniel Darda, it's going to be very, very difficult to make it. But Rinat Jumabayev, Makun, and David Navarra, they're within half a point. They're 3 players, but only 2. They're going to make it to top 4.
Absolutely unbelievable action here in the Blitz tournament, Arturs. I am just on the edge of my seat. I'm looking forward for even more.
Yeah, and also, by the way, just to refresh our memory, speaking about Radoslav, he is sharing this current standings together with Murzin, but he won chess 960. And I know, sometimes, Angelika, the players, they're like, yeah, chess 960, you never really know. It's like for fun, and then we have a very long distance. But here we are. And maybe, in the end, winning the chess 960 tournament is going to be the crucial factor to make it the top 4. Of course, we have still games to go.
It absolutely might decide who is going to qualify for the finals, which is, of course, super important for Radoslav to do well in the final rounds of the Blitz.
Yeah, so in the meantime, we have more games to go. So let's check the current pairings for the round number 8. So 3 more games to go. So this is the Masters section. Svane is playing against Salem. Radoslav Wojtaszek is facing Vladimir Fedoseev for Radoslav. Again, this is going to be very, very critical game. The same applies for Volodar Murzin, who is playing against Aravindh. I think these 2 players, Angelika, they're going to check each other, how you're doing, and it's going to be a very close race.
Definitely. In the challengers, we see that David Navarra is going to face with white pieces against Aram Hakoben, current leader of the Blitz portion. He's trying to take over Nicholas Theodorov in the standings. Meanwhile, Daniel Darda is still trying to catch up. Most likely will not be enough, but for Rinat, absolutely, it's very important game against Daniel Darda to stay in the top 5. But Machun is still not giving up, so he's facing against Nicholas Theodorov with white pieces, and he's also trying his best to still keep his scoring to go into the finals.
All right. Now, these are the current standings, and we have 3 more games to go. So I think it's pretty safe to say that in the Masters tournament, Fedoseev, Salem, and Aravindh, they have made it, so we can see them in the final 4. But who is going to make it? Is it going to be Radoslav Wojtaszek, or is it going to be Volodar Murzin? Angelika, how are you feeling? Who is going to make it?
I feel it's completely for Radoslav Wojtaszek as a winner of the 2020 edition of the Grandmaster Triathlon, but doesn't feel like he was doing so well, although he just won his recent game. Volodar Murzin, on the other hand, is a reigning rapid champion. It's such a tough pick. I would go with experience. I would go with Radoslav Wojtaszek. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, Wojtaszek probably has slightly better cards at the moment, but I think I'm going to go with Murzin, right? I'm going to keep with the younger guns. Might, of course, still go either way. And then we have the challengers where Nicholas Theodorou is leading the tournament with only 1 point difference. By the way, Hakovian has managed to decrease the tournament leader's advantage just to 1 point. And Rinat Jumabayev is currently in the third place. Yeah, and then we have like essentially 3 players, right? Because Darda is not gonna, most likely, he's not gonna make it because it's only 3 games to go. So your pick, Angelika, is it gonna be Jumabayev, Makun, or Navarra? Who is gonna make it to top 4 from these 3 players?
I mean, Daniel Darda has theoretical chance. If he wins all 3, he would have 15.5 points, but of course not so likely as you're mentioning. And out of these 3 players, 2 of them have to qualify. My pick would be Rinat Jumabayev because he is a very good player. He was swindling a lot in the classical under time pressure, so he might do it also here. And I would go with David Navarre because he was also delivering some very nice games in the Blitz. He won against Daniel Darda, who was leading the Blitz as well. And what about you, Arturs?
Yeah, it's very tough, really. I don't know. I mean, maybe indeed it would make sense to give some preference to Rinat because he has half a point more. Maybe Rinat and Makun. Like, that would be my guess, but it could definitely go either way.
Yeah, and can go completely different, and maybe Daniel will still qualify. Theoretically, there is a chance for that, but we will definitely see. And who is going to qualify for the board? We see, by the way, Murzin is seated at the board with white pieces against Aravindh. They're on the boards right now.
Yeah, they're getting ready for the game. I suggest that we follow the game of Makun against Nicholas Theodorou because this is a leader fight. I mean, Nicholas is still the leader. Makun is also one of the players who's going to try to make it. We haven't really seen him a lot, of course. I mean, it's very tough for us to choose which game to follow, so let's stick with this one, see how it goes, and if it's not super exciting, then of course we reserve the right to switch to somebody else.
Yeah, absolutely, because we still have this huge drama happening in the Grandmaster Triathlon. Who is going to qualify for the finals? It's all about it today. Who is going to go home tomorrow and who is going to stay and fight it out in the 3 final rounds? We see the handshake, and Machun is starting against Nicholas Theodorou. Meanwhile, we see all the rest of the games.
And the moves are incoming with blazing speed, of course. This is, of course, where you don't want to waste any second. You can get some extra time. Oh, F5. This is the Yanish counterattack, I believe, in the game of the lower right corner, Makun against Nicholas Theodorou. We wanted to follow this game, and I think we made the right call.
Yeah, absolutely, we did. Look at this on a take on D4 has happened, E5.
I think this is considered to be a pretty dubious choice, but there might be some opening trends here. I think it's very dangerous for the tournament leader to play something like this because even if you misplay this, White is the one who controls the initiative here.
Apparently some miss with a castle because there is a knight A5 going for the bishop on B3. Will Black be able to get the bishop pair in the position?
That's the question. Also, watch out for the C5, C4. Might be an idea. I mean, if you grab the pawn on D4, C5 might be the threat to attack whatever stands on D4, and then after C4, the cage could close and the bishop on B3 would be lost. Of course, I mean, White could sacrifice this, so that's why here White is thinking.
White is taking time in this position. You cannot take it on D4 with both the queen and the knight.
There's also bishop G8. You can ruin the castle. There you go, bishop G8 marks as a mistake. I mean, not maybe a mistake, a missed opportunity, but looks perfectly reasonable to me.
Getting back the pawn. Now F5 pawn is under attack. Meanwhile, Black is preparing the long castle, playing queen E7, but knight F5 take. Can it happen?
Yeah, but look at the clock, Angelika. 3 minutes and 6 seconds.
Nicholas Theodorou is in the prep. He has more time than he started with. Meanwhile, Makun has under 2 minutes on the clock. Knight F5 is on the board. Will we see queen F5?
I think this is still the prep. I mean, apparently Nicholas definitely knows this to some extent. So you don't randomly play queen E7, give up the pawn on F5, and then castle the long side. So I think he knows he was bluffing, and it looks like his bluff paid off.
Absolutely, it does, because look at the clock situation. This is definitely what you want to play on in the Blitz. The time is everything here. And even with having the good position, you might still blunder due to the clock situation. Long castle is on the board.
That's why, I mean, some players, they have their blitz repertoires. They don't play exactly the same. They're playing a classical, even the rapid. And if you have many of these testing lines, they're kind of dubious according to the chess engine, but the opponent has to know the precise reputations. You can bluff a lot. And of course, for example, like I think I even saw on chess, there's some blitz repertoires courses being out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see 1 minute, 16 seconds only for Machun in this game. Nicolas Dorador, meanwhile, has enormous time advantage, and A4 apparently is a mistake. Not clear why. Okay, B4 trying to close the situation on the queen side, not to create any attack.
Yeah, I mean, here White is trying to open up the queen side. Of course, I wouldn't really go so much into this engine's evaluation. So, of course, that's why Black played B4, trying to close things and keep the atmosphere at the queen side civil. In the same time, Black should do finally something at the king side. I mean, you have those pawns with G7 and H7. I think you want to push them forward and try to expose the white king.
Yes, it does, and White is trying to defend. Bishop is redeveloping. The bishop also looking at the queen side. At some moment, there might be some attack with those bishop.
Yeah, but here Black simply has an extra 1 minute on the clock, and the king feels somehow safer. What I'm trying to understand what Black should do, there's the answer. H5 is on the board. Queen takes on H5. Oh, he just blundered a piece on E4.
Oh my God, the piece on A4 isn't a queen take.
Unbelievable. You just look at the expression of Makur. He just cannot believe himself what he just did.
What has just happened? I mean, he's just blundering a piece. Oh.
I mean, the hand sometimes does the work instead of the brain. So I think this is what he did. He saw a pawn, grabbed it, and I think he was expecting the Black is going to have some sort of a counterattack at the H file. But actually, what he forgot was the knight on E4.
Arturs, what do you do in such situation? You're just resigning, or you keep on fighting, Arturs?
Of course, you keep fighting because there's no going back for Makun, because he's in a very, very close race trying to qualify for the Final Four. Even though the position looks pretty grim, you got to fight it out.
Meanwhile, Daniel Darda against Rinat Jumabayev are fighting it out for the final spot in the challengers. Shall we take a look at that game?
I already did.
Okay.
You called it out. I already did. I had a feeling that the tournament leader, Theodoro, is going to win his game. And here we have, what do we have here? Some D5, he takes on D6 and F5. Craziness on the board.
Oh my God, and pawn is all the way on D6. I mean, the computer slightly prefers the position of white, but this looks like a pure house here. Such a mess in the position. What, can you take a pawn? Can you? Knight D4 is on the board. All the pieces are hanging.
For Daniel, this is the last, perhaps, theoretical chance, because Jumabayev is 2 points ahead of him. And Jumabayev is right now in the third place. Daniel Darda is in the last place, but there's only 2 points between them with 3 rounds to go. There's a fork on C2, by the way.
Ooh, the rook is hanging on A3. Was it missed, or it was part of a plan?
Yeah, it's really hard to follow, to be honest. It looks like White has sacrificed. I think it was a sacrifice exchange, and he's the one who has all the fun. The bar says that the position is somehow level, but what matters is Black is down the last 25 seconds in a very sharp position.
Meanwhile, Daniel has 1 minute on the clock. He has been doing well at the start of the Blitz. Then he messed up. 20 seconds, by the way, for Rinat Jumabayev. He has to make a move. He cannot find it. How do you continue the development? 12 seconds.
Yeah, really difficult. So this looks very good for Darda, but I mean, the rook at H1 is still not joining the game. B6, I think this is the move you have to play a bit faster. So what's White going to do? Knight X on E6 or something else?
Or is there Knight A6? But of course, taking the pawn looks very logical.
Yeah, I think I would go for Knight E6. I mean, Knight A6 basically is the same threat. With Knight E6, you go after the pawn on G7, and yet Daniel is thinking about something. No, it's Knight E6.
He's going for it now. Knight trade is happening for the bishop. Now, G7 is under attack, C7, but there is a check. And this pawn on D6, such a strong pawn. Meanwhile, I mean, looking at this position, there is an exchange up for Black, but the position look. Oh, what happened?
Yeah, I mean, that's the engine for you. I mean, here the king on F6. I'm not really sure, Angelique, if it's feeling that safe, because if I'll be able to play something like rook C1 or rook D1, I was wanting to put the rook on the 7th rank to go for some checkmate ideas. The king on F6 is feeling pretty dangerous here.
There could be bishop H5 idea just to cut it completely off. But now Black's rook are out. Now there could be a threat of bringing the rook to the C2 in this position.
What about D7, rook D6, bishop F3 marks as a mistake, and Jumabayev attempts to bring the knight knight to the game, and this is a mistake. And why? Oh, rookie
Checkmate!
6.
Oh my God, look at this.
Rookie 6, G6, rookie 6. Where's the win? Where's the win? Rookie 6, king G7, and what do you do?
And then check and 96 at some.
Another check. I mean, I'm not entirely sure. And here, black has white has only 12 seconds on the clock.
He has to find it. He has to find
Yes, it's
the
rookie
right
6,
place.
rookie 7. Yeah, that's
6.
correct. That's
Rook
winning.
A7, Rook F8, King F8.
And rook F7. I didn't see this move. There's also bishop D5. And he missed it.
He missed Rook A7, no Bishop E5. Oh, Bishop's.
And I mean, how do you feel if you're Jumabayev? You're like, whew, oh my goodness, this is this close. So here, knight F3, of course, the game still continues. Watch out for knight H4. These pawns are targets.
They're getting into the endgame, Rook and the knight. But still, white is pushing, white is pressing. There is a big activity of the rooks on the 7th rank.
I think you need to activate the king. Somehow get it to G5 here. No, G3 instead is played. So the knight on D1 was a check. So here, Darda is just making sure he's not blundering anything. I think you have to push those kings up on. There you go. There's G4 on the board.
Yeah, it's happening. King takes on G4. Now there is going to be this 2 against 1.
King G5, knight G6 is a big threat. I think Darda looks really good, although he has only 6 seconds on the clock.
Black's king is super passive on the last rank. Rook B7 is taking everything under control. Now check.
I think you could just take the pawn on B5 here, and this is exactly what Darda does. Should be technically winning here. White is in complete control, but of course the game continues. Never underestimate the knights.
Only 5 seconds per each player. I mean, both players are so low on the clock, they can't even lose on time. But of course, they're still trying, they're still...
Rook F7.
Oh,
Knight F6. Where's the win? 94 is Rook D3. Can you do that? Big decision here.
no, A4 has been played. Now Rook D5 attacking the knight. Apparently you cannot defend.
1 second.
Oh my
A5,
God.
I mean, it's got to be very close. Yeah, you need to watch out also for the fork. And in the meantime, Jumava is just picking up all of white's pawns, one after another.
Oh my God.
There's the
what is
comeback.
going on? The Rook A2.
Again, Darda needs this victory desperately to qualify
And
for
look
top
at
4.
this. It was a mistake. Apparently Rook... Oh,
No, it was King B5.
we have knight A6, knight A4 can be played, and then the pawn is promoting.
Yeah, so white, according to the engine, is winning. But again, those knights, Angelica, they're really tricky here.
Now attacking the knight. Knight has to jump somewhere, but there is no real way. Is there Rook B2?
Knight A6 is a mistake. And why? It's not really clear because of knight B6. What a resource here for Jumabayev. So he's going to take on B6. Black's going to promote to the queen. And
Wait,
no, white
queen.
promotes to the queen.
Oh, he's not taking back.
That was pretty crazy.
And now we're going to have queen and the knight against the rook. What
You
an
could
endgame.
literally see Jumabayev was like, what's going on? I mean, he felt he was this close. You could see the frustration in his face.
The resignation is happened. We see
Can't
Daniel
believe it.
Darda is scoring a victory. Super important for him to still have theoretical chances. All the rest of the game have finished. It was the last game of the round.
All right, so what a round it was. So all the decisive games. And let's check now the current results of round 8. And here they are. Salem scored another important victory over Frederick Svane. Unfortunately for Frederick, the tournament is going to be pretty soon over. Wojtaszek lost a clutch game against Vladimir Fedoseev, trying to attempt to qualify for top 4. But also, Volodar Murzin lost his game against Aravindh. So that's why the race for top 4 is still open.
Definitely, and in the Challengers CC, Vachier-Lagrave is the leader of the Blitz tournament, scoring another victory. What an impressive performance. Daniel Darda, though, not giving up on his chances into qualifying into finals, so winning against Rinat Jumabayev. But meanwhile, Makun is losing to the current leader, Nicolas Theodorou, and we see that this round has major implication on the overall standings, Arthurs.
Here they are. Fedoseev is the new leader once again, 1 point ahead of Salem, and then we have Aravindh, who is 20.5 points. In the meantime, the race for the final 4 is wide open because Wojtaszek and Volodar Murzin share the same place, but Wojtaszek has the better tiebreak because he did win the Chess 960 tournament.
And in the Challengers, we see that still Nicolas Theodorou is leading with 1 point in front of Vachier-Lagrave, but Vachier-Lagrave having incredible Blitz tournament. He's right behind him. Meanwhile, so many points. I mean, 9 points behind them is Rinat Jumabayev with 14.5, and Machun with David Navarro on the 4th and 5th place are, I mean, this is so close here. Such a huge idea, because also Daniel Darda has chances to qualify theoretically.
I can't believe it, because I thought it's already over, but no, I mean, he won this clutch game, and now he's like only half a point behind those guys to make a top 4. I think it's going to be photo finish. So, dear viewers, I mean, this is really setting up us amazing finale here of the GMT Masters and Challengers Triathlon. We have 2 more rounds to go, but first we're going to go for a very short break and come back in several minutes to follow the action. Who is going to make it to the Final 4? See you soon.
Greetings, chess fans. We are the official commentators of Biel Chess Festival. My name is Artur Neikšans. I'm a chess grandmaster. This is Angelika Volkova, my co-host already for 4 years of the festival. And we have for you a very important message.
Yeah, we're here in Biel, but the question is if we're going to come next year, and it could depend on you, dear viewers.
The goal is to achieve €10,000 donation from our Tippy campaign. You probably have seen, what is this Tippy button right there on the streams? This is our donation campaign. So if you are enjoying our coverage, if you like us as your hosts, and most importantly, you would like to see us coming back next year, we would really, really appreciate that you would donate something for the campaign.
And we're going to reach the goal. You will have this opportunity of having free entrance to all the tournaments at the Biel Chess Festival and also hotel accommodation. Artists, I hope we're going to get some donation, because I'm really looking forward for the next edition, and I would like to be here commentating with you.
So do I. Being here for 4 years in a row, we make a really great team, so please make it happen.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have got your popcorn ready because we have a very exciting finish waiting for us here in the Biel Congress Center where the 58th International Biel Chess Festival takes place, because the situation in the GMT Masters and Challengers, the main event of the Biel Chess Festival, is wide open. Everybody can still take it. So both the Masters and Challengers, the fight for the final four, the final phase of the triathlon is very unclear.
Absolutely, and here we have the pairings for the next round, which is number 9. Murzin is going to try to score a victory to get into the finals against Svane. Meanwhile, Aravindh will be trying, but it's Wojtaszek who has to score a victory to stay in the game for the finals. It's going to be tough with the black pieces. Meanwhile, Fedoseev with white pieces will take on Salem, the two leaders right now in the event. And in the challengers, we have Machoon against David Navarre, an incredible matchup. Who is going to stay for the finals? Nicolas Theodore, the current leader with white pieces, will take on Daniel Darda, who is currently on the last place, and Rinat Jumabayev will play against Aram Hakobian.
So the games are about to start, and you can see everybody is getting really concentrated for those final games. I mean, for the tournament leaders, like for Aram, here things are a bit easier because they have already made it, no much stress. But for the remaining players, like for example for Rinat, we just saw him, things are somehow different.
Yeah, they are very difficult right now in this Blitz tournament. We see that some of the players are doing better, some of the players are doing worse. We've seen that Aram Hakobian was doing incredibly well, trying to get up to the Nicolas Theodore. Meanwhile, we see in the background that the players are getting seated also for the Masters tournament. Here in Biel, we have many tournaments happening at the same time with the Grandmaster Triathlon Blitz. We also have the open section, so we see the players getting ready for the round number 9.
So mostly we are going to focus, of course, on the players who are going to make it to the top 4. Once again, to refresh your memory, Wojtaszek and Murzin right now are fighting out. Who is going to be the one who is going to make it to the final 4? The first 3 places, Fedoseev, Salem, and Aravindh already have made it. We don't know the order, how they're going to do it. In the meantime, in the challengers, 2 players are certain, Nicolas Theodore and Aram Hakobian. They can play pretty relaxed, but Rinat Jumabayev, Machoon, David Navarre, and once again, Daniel Darda, they're fighting out for those 2 spots in the final 4.
Yeah, big question's going to be who is going to qualify for the finals. All the players right now think about from this bottom of the rankings is what are going to be this round and how they will be able to get there. All the players will try to score as many points as possible. Meanwhile, we'll see Nicolas Theodore was getting seated there. And meanwhile, now Aravindh is getting ready to face Radoslav. For Radoslav, it's a crucial round here.
Yeah, incredibly important game here for him. And let's start with the overview of all the games. As you can see, once again, a very familiar sight. The moves are played very quickly. Some players play Sicilian, some play anti-Sicilian, some play D4, and some just play the Berlin.
Arturs, I suggest we go into the game of Aravindh against Radoslav Wojtaszek. It's a game which is very important for the Polish Grandmaster because he wants to try to stay in the game, try to stay for the finals of the Grandmaster Triathlon.
Here we go. Wojtaszek with the black color. Aravindh in a great shape. C5 was just played. I think it's some sort of... I'm not sure what actually is this, some Nimzo or Zuckertot. Feels like some Zuckertot. Doesn't really matter anyway. I mean, here White is going for some easy king set attack. Typically, it suggests that White wants to play knight e5 and a4. There you go, knight e5 is on the board.
Instantly played. Now the question is, will Black take on e5 or not? Because the pawn on e5 is going to separate the position in 2 halves in this case.
Yeah, so here... Wojtaszek has to make up the choice. What's he going to do with the knight? Rook c8, really cool move. I like that. So maybe he's thinking about some ideas at some point to grab on c5 and play c4, c3. So I would expect here White to play something like queen e2. No, queen f3 instead. All right, that's interesting.
What an aggressive choice by the Grandmaster from India, Aravindh. We see that queen is ready to go on the king side. We will see attack there. Will we see queen h3, knight f3?
Yeah, there's definitely some ideas here. The queen on h3 promises White some easy initiative, and the engine, as usual, says this is nothing special. That's why, I mean, I really love Blitz, Angelika, because you can play on Blitz some easy-to-play systems that engines normally say they're not really that great.
Definitely they are, and in the Blitz it's so tough to find those precise moves, so we are seeing a lot of blunders, a lot of decisive results. As we were mentioning earlier rounds, all the rounds, a couple of rounds before, they were all decisive results. I mean, this is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I mean, this 97 9G6 is a very famous maneuver from Black's perspective. I have played this myself against a Nimzo, so feels to be quite familiar. And I'm trying to recall what was the core idea here. I think it was some sort of a queen c7 and knight d4 at the right time. So you need to target the pawn on c2. So maybe it was rook c7, rook c8, and then target the pawn on c2. In the meantime, I think here the Indian Grandmaster's plan is pretty clear. You have to go for a kingside attack.
And Black has to say something, has to prepare something. Meanwhile, 2 minutes for Aravindh and 2 minutes 20 seconds for Radoslav Wojtaszek. Is a pawn hanging? That's a big question.
I think it is. I think this is something you have to address. So if you are going to go for the kingside attack, what about the pawn on a3? Do you sacrifice it? Do you keep it alive? There you go. There's the answer. f4 is played. Bishop takes on a3 is a possibility, but I think White will just take on a3, play rook a1, and reclaim the lost pawn on a7.
Yeah, that's definitely would be possible in the position. Ardus, I don't know if I can suggest, but the Nicolas Theodorou game against Daniel Darda, I mean, there is some explosive action there. The pawns are being pushed. Shall we take a look at that game of the challengers?
Let's go. Let's go. I mean,
look at this.
It's really tough to choose, but this is, we have 4 pawns here at the kingside, d4, e4, f4, g4. So Nicolas here is definitely showing his intentions at the kingside.
Yes, definitely it is. Look at this. We have the current leader of the challengers against the last place in the challengers section, Daniel Darda, but he's still having the hope, and g5 pushing forward apparently was not the best move.
I think the problem is the pawn on g5, because now Black is threatened to take on f4 and collect the pawn on g5 here, so I'm not sure what the engine doesn't like it, because I'm seeing also something like h4 must be something very concrete here.
Yeah,
knight e3 fork, by the way, is a threat.
Ooh, there is a fork. Just an update, there has been first result a draw, Rinat Jumabayev against Araham Kabayan. That could be very important for the overall rankings later, but we are going to definitely follow this game.
That was a very big decision by
Big
Rinat,
one.
because I'm not sure that draw is a good result, but though, I mean, he is playing against one of the stronger players in the Challengers tournament.
Who knows? Who knows that's going to continue, because Daniel Darda is keep on scoring the points, and now he has a better position against current leader Nicolas Theodorou. With which piece will he take? And he's not even taking only 5, he takes on g5.
Indeed. Yeah, so queen x on g5, queen f3. Here White continues, targets the pawn on f7. Black needs to figure out what to do. Engine marks this as a great move. I think also here White is threatening to play e takes on d6, followed by knight e5, knight e4. And both players are fiercely fighting for the initiative here.
It's going to be a huge fight in this game for sure. And yeah, we see queen f3. Now Black is taking time to figure out how to defend on f7. Either way, I mean, rook f8 looks like a logical move, but Daniel Darda is spending time now, 40 seconds for him only.
I'm also keeping an eye on other games and from the other players who are in the contention for the top 4. This is the most exciting game, so maybe let's stick it here. But of course, as soon as something absolutely crazy happens in other games, so there's going to be major developments, we're going to let you know.
Definitely, we are, and we see that it was allowed to take on f7, giving up a knight, but there is knight on g3 is hanging for Black. What is going on?
I mean, Darda is down in 20 seconds. He doesn't have plenty of time, and the position is razor sharp. Do you take the knight on g3? I think you do.
If you take, but there is rook f7. I mean, how are you going to stop the attack?
10 seconds.
Queen g3, rook f7. We might see it on the board now. It's happening. Checkmate threat.
That's a very big threat. For some reason, the engine says it's a double exclamation move. That's the most natural move you could basically make in this position. There comes queen h4. Of course, Darda defends from the checkmate, and position remains somehow balanced, but it's only 5 seconds for Black.
It's only this time, and there are 2 against 1 on the king side. But this is a rook on f7. I mean, also White can bring another rook to attack. How do you proceed here with Black in this position? It's super tough.
Darda, I think he desperately needs something out of this game. He cannot afford to lose, because once again, he is in the last place, but this gap is so small. Rook d8 is a very natural move. I mean, here Black is looking for some counterattack, but the pawn on c6 is gone.
Now look at this. Bishop comes to c8 to target the pawn on h3, just opening up the position of the White's king. He's still hoping for some attack, but I see that the evaluation bar goes all the way up.
Yeah, I mean, maybe here white can trade the queens on f6 because, I mean, black otherwise is going to develop a very strong initiative. So queen f6 would be my bet. Knight e3. There you go. There the queens are off the board.
Queen is off the board, and looks like this is going to be practically possible to win this position. It's going to be tough for Daniel Darda to come from this game. So I suggest maybe we go and take a look at the game of Aravindh against Radoslav Wojtaszek, because for Radoslav it's very important game in the Masters. He has to try to win this game, but we see, oh my God, there are
It does look like he's going to make it. He's down a pawn, and it's the Indian Grandmaster who has everything under control. Pretty bad news for Wojtaszek and the Polish fans. So at least Wojtaszek has to find a way not to lose this game to keep his chances alive, because in the meantime, Murzin has a balanced position against Frederick Svane, and maybe he's still going to be wide open.
And looks like pawn is marching all the way to on the d file. d6 has just been played. He's still trying to figure it out. Queen e6 blocking the pawns, but I believe it looks...
I believe that white's going to win it. Yeah, maybe let's now jump to the game. Voldar Murzin against Frederick Svane, because this is also a very, very important game, because Murzin is fighting essentially not here against Frederick Svane. He's fighting against Radoslav Wojtaszek, because they are the two guys who are fighting for the final.
And look at this. Suddenly we went to the game and looks like the evaluation bar goes all the way down. 10 seconds for Frederick Svane, but he's getting such a strong position with the bishop. Will he be able to win?
At the moment, both players who are trying to qualify for the Final Four, they're in big trouble. Wojtaszek appears to be losing, and also Voldar's position is in really big danger.
Huge danger right now. Will we see Frederick Svane, who already was disqualified, so to say, from the final tournament? Will he be able to eliminate Volodar Murzin with himself?
And also, I'm seeing there's the other crazy game. It's so tough to choose. I mean, the game is... in the meantime, by the way,
Aravindh?
there's an update. Yeah, Aravindh just won his game against Wojtaszek. Wojtaszek just lost his game. But anyway, what I wanted to mention, Makun against David Tavara is also a very critical game, fighting for the top four. So maybe one more final time, let's switch to that game and see what is happening there, because this is also a fight for survival.
It's absolutely very important fight for both of the players. It looks like the position is balanced. What has just happened? Okay, there was a
blunder. I think he
oh
missed.
My God!
Made in one.
Made in one. David Navarra is winning against Machu.
Machu can't believe it. He can't believe it. I mean, he lost this game because a couple of moves ago it was just level, and now there's a checkmate in one.
Oh my God. Absolutely heartbreaking moment for Machu, losing the piece the game before against Nicolas Teodoro, just blundering like this checkmate. And we still have one game ongoing, Volodar Murzin against Frederick Svane. Volodar is still trying.
Yeah, I don't think that Murzin is aware that Wojtaszek lost. Normally, I mean, I'm telling this from my experience, when you're playing a Blitz game, even though you're a very close race to somebody, you just don't know. You're like 100%, 200% in your game. So here Murzin is trying to stay alive, but by the looks of it, it does look realistic. And he resigns.
He resigns. We have the final result of the round number 9 right now.
Did you see the look? Did you see the look? Murzin immediately checked the results. And he saw that Wojtaszek lost. So he's like, probably relief. Okay, I'm still good. I still have a chance.
And actually, both of them, they're losing 2 last rounds. Arturs, let's take a look at the results from the round number 9, because we see that Wojtaszek and Murzin lost in this round. Meanwhile, Salem is taking on the Vladimir Fedoseev, winning and trying to catch up with him in the leaders. Meanwhile, in the challengers, David Navarra with an unbelievable checkmate against Machu. What an incredible turnaround in the challengers. Nicolas Teodoro, the current leader, scoring the victory against the last place Daniel Darda, for whom it might be already the tournament over. And Rinat Jimabayev plays a short draw against Aram Hakoben. Maybe it was a good choice, maybe not. We don't know.
So let's check the current standings, but dear viewers, there's something I just noticed. In the next round pairings, we're going to show you there's something amazing coming up, because you can see Wojtaszek and Volodar Murzin, they have the same amount of points, but they're going to play against each other in the final round. So this is going to be a fight for the qualification for the Final Four. Wojtaszek has the better tiebreak. He's playing with white, but this means for Murzin all in. So he has to win with the black color. I mean, all the top 3 players from the Masters section already have made it. And in the meantime, in the Challengers tournament, as you can see, the leaders are pretty much in the clear. But there's going to be 2 very critical games. Daniel Darda is going to play against Makun. And in the meantime, David Navarra is going to play against
Rinat
Jumabayev. So these games, they're going to decide everything.
Oh, absolutely. And if the game of Rinat Jumabayev against David Navarro will finish in a draw, it might say goodbye to Machun because he will not be able even to get to them. I mean, this is absolutely a crucial round for everyone. We might see a lot of changes right here in the final rounds. I mean, Arthurs, I'm super excited.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Here, I'm just enjoying this pure cinema from the best seats in the playing venue. So who is going to make it? Is it going to be Wojtaszek or Volodar Murzin? Or in the meantime, from those 4 players in the Challengers tournament, who is going to make it to the top 4? Dear viewers, you're going to have to see it yourself live from Biel Chess Festival because we're going to go for a very short break, but be back in a couple of minutes to finish this absolutely epic Blitz tournament. It all comes down to this, folks, because this is the final round of the Blitz tournament of the 58th International Biel Chess Festival. The GMT Masters and Challengers have come to a very, very exciting finish line where the players are fighting it out. Who's going to make it to the top four? And as you can see, these are the current pairings for the final round. But all of our eyes, they're going to be on the game of Radoslav Wojtaszek against Volodar Murzin, because that's essentially the fight to qualify for the final four. Once again, Wojtaszek has the better tiebreak. For him, draw is good. For Murzin, this is a must-win situation.
And in challengers, we have the major pairings. David Nabar will face Rinat Jumabayev. Both of these players are currently in the third and fourth place with the same amount of points. The victory is going to cost a lot. And also the game of Daniel Darda against Machun. For Daniel, there is already no chance to go into the top four, but for Machun is still a final shot in this tournament.
That it is indeed. And actually, you know, I just noticed that both David and Rinat, they would be perfectly happy with the draw, to be honest, right? Because it looks like this would allow them to qualify for the final stage. We'll see if this is going to happen, but I think that we are going to mostly concentrate on the game of Radoslav Wojtaszek against Volodar Murzin, and of course, keep a close eye on what's happening in the other games.
Absolutely. And in the game of Radoslav Wojtaszek against Volodar Murzin, the draw is a preferable result for the Polish Grandmaster because of the tie breaks, because of the Chess 960, the first day of the event. Now it's going to be deciding this too. But of course, for Volodar, it's a must-win situation with the black pieces, which is not the most easiest task in the world.
Yeah, and I expect that definitely Volodar is going to play something sharp, so he probably already has made up his mind. And for Wojtaszek, the plan is really simple. Keep it simple, do not complicate stuff, and try not to make it too exciting. So once again, let's revisit the current standings before the final round. So Fedoseev, Salem, and Aravindh, all of them have made it to the final four. Wojtaszek versus Murzin, and in the meantime, in the Challengers tournament, there's a fight going on. But anyway, the round is starting.
The round starting, we see on the board d4, knight of 6 already happened. Look, ooh.
The double
D6,
fianchetto.
Double fianchetto.
Not exactly your sharpest continuation, but I mean, Wojtaszek is not really taking a lot of risks in the opening. He might go for some non-sharp continuation, which might lead to equalish position. To be honest, I was hoping that Volodar is going to play Dutch defense, but even against that, you can play something positional.
Definitely, for sure. And here we have bishop e4. We see Volodar is already trying to complicate the position. Queen d2 is on the board, and now bishop b7. Will we see repetition with queen c2?
I mean, he could do that. Like, this would send a message like, I don't mind the draw. I know the tie breaks, but no, short castle. Wojtaszek just plays good chess.
I think it's also very important, absolutely, because if he's going to go for a draw, many times playing for a draw might even get some very disappointing results. So he has to play chess game for sure.
So b3, a5 is played. So here, White is attempting to simply finish up development. Yeah, knight c3, bishop b2. This knight e4 move, Angelika, is very common move because especially for the queens in defense, there's the fight for the e4 square. Black just played d6, knight e7. Maybe he's thinking about the e5 push. And of course, Wojtaszek plays it as simple as possible. And right now, for Murzin, it's very difficult to complicate the matters.
Will we see some trades of the bishop? I mean, looks like pretty simple position like getting simplified here. How will the reigning rapid champion be able to complicate and get some opportunities for a victory here? One more time, it's a must-win scenario and situation for him here.
Yeah, that's why I think Volodar took on f3 just to have some imbalances in the position, because he now has the knight on f6, at least it's something, and the knights are really tricky in Blitz, so he's hoping for this long-term game. Rook e3 here, Wojtaszek attempts to double the rooks at the e-file and apply some pressure against the pawn on e7.
Just to give an update on the games of the challengers, everything is balanced in the games of David Navarro against Rinat Jumabayev and Daniel Darda against Machun. Already traded even the queens, a lot of pieces, so everything is balanced. Anything can happen in those games.
So here we see f4 is played. White has a pretty solid advantage according to a chess engine here, but Still, of course, doesn't mean anything. Black would love to play maybe e6, but the problem is the rook on a8 is under attack. So if I was Murzin, I would think about removing the rook and then playing e6, or maybe go for some b5 counterattack. Big choice here.
Yes, definitely it is, and looks like the space advantage in the center on the queen side for white might even decide the game. Looking at the computer evaluation, it looks absolutely incredible. King f8 has just been played, and a4.
I love this move. This is a very nice practical move that you normally play only in this situation where you need just a draw. So he just closed the queen side and is going to focus on the king side, and this is where white feels a bit stronger. But I really also like Volodar's choice here. He played this king f8, knight g8. He is prepping for some sort of a e6 break, queen f6, and now it's Wojtaszek who says no to the queen trade.
No queen trade. He wants to push here. I absolutely love how white is playing in this position. He's not going for simplification. He's going for the chess game.
Yeah, but how do you here even make any progress with black? Because here, Wojtaszek is playing textbook position here. And again, he's not really, attempting to win. He's just making sure that black has no active plans. There comes Murzin with knight h6, knight f5. And as soon as this knight is going to be on f5, Angelika, I'm pretty sure that Wojtaszek is going to grab it.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is no way to break for black. There is no c6, no e6, no b5. I mean, no pawn breaks are in the position. Meanwhile, the rooks are standing on e8, on d8, and doing absolutely nothing. We see that Radoslav is improving position of playing rook e4. Maybe he preparing some maneuvering with the pieces.
I think he's just standing, to be honest, like doing nothing, because he doesn't need to do anything here. So he has the easy moves, triple the pieces at the e-file and see what happens. He doesn't need a 5. I mean, the tournament situation doesn't require him to do this. He might play this out of the principle, but he doesn't have to do this. But he does it.
Oh, he goes for the f5, breaking in the king side.
I am not sure I like that. I think it was not really necessary, but I mean, probably Radoslav is a very principled player. Now here, Murzin might have a shot, because he could be thinking about some future ideas to play knight f6, hide the king on h8, play rook g8, and this bishop on h3 for white is not really looking that great, because so many pawns are on the color of the bishop.
Giving you an update from the challengers, there is a slightly comfortable position for Daniel Darda against Machun. We might see Daniel eliminating Machun from the challengers, because if Machun is losing, then we are going for sure to have David Navarro and Rinat Jimabayev winning the spots in the finals. Meanwhile, David Navarro against Rinat Jimabayev, still everything is very balanced with some complicated position.
Yeah, but there's again some developments here in this game. Murzin is striking back, and that's why I said I did not like this f5, because this gave black some counterplay. And Murzin was ready to sacrifice the pawn on e7. I think he wanted to play king g7, and here Wojtaszek retreated. He must be regretting his choices that he did before, because now this knight on f6, ladies and gentlemen, might become a very strong piece.
Yes, it is, and it's always having this opportunity to jump to g4. You have to take it into consideration. Rook h8, will we see this move coming to open up? Knight g4, is it there?
Rook h8, h4, so black is clearly thinking about this h4. The pawn on e7 doesn't matter, and now it's Wojtaszek who is trying to hold on. He must be kicking himself really hard that he allowed black to do this, and now here Volodar has a real shot to qualify h4, even though the bar says the position is still alive and white is somehow better. Visually, I start to like black's position.
Volodar has to try, because it's the must-win situation for him. If this game is going to finish in a draw, he's going to prefer Radoslav Wojtaszek, since he has a better tie breaks in chess 960. But look at this. I mean, what happened?
I mean, black is taking over the game. That's what I'm telling you. So here, black is having all the fun on the king side. The king on h2, unfortunately for white, is in trouble. And black's position keeps getting better and better. Watch out for the bishop at h3 being pinned.
And also Radoslav is getting lower on the clock now. With only 40 seconds, he has to make some tough decisions in this position. He's offering the queen trade, but now it may be already too late for that.
This knight is going to be very strong, and Wojtaszek might regret now including this a4 earlier in the game, because the black knight is controlling all the dark squares. So queen h6, does black want to play king e8, king d7, king c8, and bring the other rook to g8? I think this is what he wants. He keeps the tension alive. Also, watch out for the knight h5 threat to give a fork.
Meanwhile, a huge development in the game of Daniel Darda against Machun. Machun won. There was a big blunder, or he won on the clock. Situation not clear, but the result is clear. Machun has won. He still has chances to qualify for the finals.
And what do we have from the game of David Navarra and Rinat Jumabayev?
Still balance. It might finish in a draw. If it finishes in the draw, it means bye-bye to Machun, and it's going to be Jumabayev and Navarra who are qualifying.
I love it. I love it that they're fighting it out, because they could have agreed to a draw and that's it. They would have made it, but they're still fighting it out. And here you can see Volodar is striking back. He has now amazing position. White's position is becoming worse by the second. Now Black is coming all the far. He's winning the exchange. He's going to make it.
Oh my God, you have to give up the exchange because there is 92. Ooh, we see it on the board.
I think Murzin is going to make it. He has 30 seconds versus Wojtaszek Salem. What a huge miss for Wojtaszek. I mean, this F4, F5, he should have done that. He had all the cards. Everything was at his favor. And now he's in a losing position here. And Murzin, I think he's going to make it.
He has also more time on the clock, 25 seconds. Will Polish Grandmaster be able to stabilize this position?
I love how Black slowly improves the position. This King G7, King F6. I mean, not really rushing with things. Textbook position. Now, the Rook and F4 for White is not doing anything. Rook B2, and I think White's Queen's head is going to fall apart.
Just trying to squeeze the victory, convert the position with being up in exchange here. I mean, this is something what Volodar can do.
And Rook is trapped, and here
Oh
White tries the final shot, and there go, he resides, and Murzin makes it to top 4, and Murzin, of course, is all smiles.
At the same time, the draw was agreed in the game of David Navarra against Rinat Jumabayev, so both of the players are going in for the finals. Arturs, what a final round we had, was absolutely incredible.
Absolutely crazy, but of course, I mean, still the action continues from the other games, so we are going to definitely come back with a clarification who did make it to Final Four. Here we have the game of Svane against Vladimir Fedoseev. Now, these are the games that might matter for the overall ranking. Still have some important points to pick, but Fedoseev wins on time.
Ooh, what happened? Yes.
He won on time.
He won on time. What a game. Of course, this game was not important for the overall rankings because Vladimir Fedoseev has already a long time ago got the tickets to the finals and Frederick Svane was eliminated. But what were the results of the final round?
Let's check them, and here they are. So in the final round, Frederick Svane lost against Vladimir Fedoseev. I think it was on time. Salem won a pretty important victory against Aravindh and Radoslav Wojtaszek. I think this is the game he's going to remember for quite some time because he had everything under control. He had more time on the clock, and everything started with this F4, F5 push, giving Volodar a chance to strike back, and he did.
He did it, absolutely. I mean, what an incredible run. For the challengers, it was a draw between David Navarra against Rinat Jumabayev, but it was not a short draw. As we were discussing, the players might have agreed on the draw in the opening because that would qualify both of them in the finals, but they played it out till the end game. Meanwhile, the leader, Nicolas Theodorou, is extending his lead with a win over the second place, Aram Hakoben, and Machun managed to score a nice win against Daniel Darda. There was a huge blunder in that game.
Well, Angelika, I think it passed very quickly. It feels like it was from the start to finish, in one breath. Basically, I mean, it feels like we had round one an hour ago, just now, and now the tournament already is finished, and that's usually the pace of a Blitz event. What a finale.
I do agree, Arturs. I mean, I couldn't believe what is going on. I mean, everything was written according to the script. I mean, we had this tension till the final round. I mean, in the boss, masters and the challenges. I recall last year where Salem was beating everyone in the Blitz and he was eliminating players because he was extending his lead. But here now, we have completely different situation. Everyone had the chance for this final two spots, third and the fourth place, and two final places would be eliminated.
All right, and while we are waiting for the final confirmation for the final results, because we don't want to announce anything wrong, so dear viewers, we're going to make a very, very short break. So stay tuned. We're coming back in a minute to wrap up the coverage of this amazing Blitz tournament from the 58th Biel Chess Festival. Stay tuned. And once again, we are live from the 58th International Biel Chess Festival, the Blitz event, to make sure who qualifies for the final four stage of the GMT Masters and Challengers is officially over. And now we can bring to you the current results of the final round and the standings, and here they are. So Salem, after the Blitz tournament, leads the event with 23 points. Vladimir Fedoseev has the same amount of points, but Saleh has a better tiebreaker. In the meantime, Aravindh has 21.5 points. But the most important news is Volodar Murzin beating Radoslav Wojtaszek in the final round and thus qualifying for the top four.
And meanwhile, in the challengers, we still have Nicolas Teodoro leading. They went with 26.5 points, 2.5 points in front of Aram Hokabian, for whom the Blitz tournament was also very nice event. Meanwhile, we have so many players behind. Rinat Jimabayev with 15.5 points together with David Navarra with the same score, still qualifying for the final, because look at this, Arturs. Nicolas Teodoro has 26.5 points, and if we count to the David Navarra, it's 11-point difference. And if it was 12-point difference, then the player would not qualify, but not in this case. Here we have top four players qualifying. Machun, of course, it's very sad result. He won against Daniel Darda, but anyway, it didn't work out for him to qualify for the finals.
Yeah, I mean, it was absolutely a thrill to follow Angelika, and I would like to join the list of people who congratulate the players who made it this far, and also for those who did not make it. I believe it was really a great run for all of them. Fun to spend the time in Biel, because playing this triathlon, I think, for the players, it's got to mean something special. Of course, I also feel a bit for Radoslav. He was this close to make it, but I'm pretty sure that he's going to keep the spirits at the positive levels and keep coming back at Biel, because it's just great atmosphere.
Of course, and for players who didn't qualify, now they have some extra days to enjoy Biel and maybe also join us for some coverage of the event. So I'm looking forward to those guests in the studio.
So Angelika, maybe what's your highlight of today? If I would ask you to pinpoint what sticks in your memory from this Blitz tournament?
I mean, absolutely the game of Radoslav Wojtaszek against Volodar Murzin. Radoslav could have tried to play safe to get the draw and to go through, but unfortunately for him, I mean, he pushed forward, and that game just turned around in a pure nightmare for the Polish Grandmaster. That was a true highlight, how Volodar Murzin managed to keep himself for the finals.
I mean, we couldn't have scripted this, right? Because there were some critical clutch matchups in the final round, and we even had the difficulty to choose what's going to happen. And also, of course, the game we didn't get to follow too much. Jumabayev against David Navarra finished in a draw, allowing both players to qualify for the final stage. It was really fun. You know, I enjoy this, but we have still something more going on.
Absolutely. Tomorrow we have a rest day, so the players are going to take the breath after this Blitz tournament. I'm sure I would need a rest day after such an eventful day and not talking about the players. And after that, we're going to have what we were waiting for the whole event, this final part where the players are going to play against each other with the different colors than they played in the classical portions. I'm so much looking for that.
Indeed, so am I. So who is going to do it? Who is going to take down the year 2025 Masters and Challengers Triathlon, dear viewers? You're going to have to find it out yourself after the rest day, because tomorrow we are not going to be here. As Angelika already said, the defending champion is out, so Radoslav Wojtaszek will not be able to defend his 20th title. Also, Lim Lei is not here, the last year's three-time winner of the event. So it's going to be a new champion here in Biel. So thank you again for watching. Once again, in case you missed it, a happy International Chess Day to all of you. But we're saying goodbye to you, and we're waiting for you to come join us for the official broadcast in one day. See you soon.